I mean, I understand it. I can have a compassionate heart to say, this is wrong. This should not have happened. But taking people's guns away is not going to solve the problem. It's never going to.
Yeah.
And it's another reason to be grateful for the opportunity to homeschool. The influences that were, the influences that parents don't see inside of schools. They were playing hide and seek with the farm boys across the street, okay? But they were in our backyard. They're playing hide and seek with their walkie-talkies. And all of a sudden, the kids come running around the house. And they're like, Weston stepped on a nail. And I'm just like, oh, gosh. Yeah. And then they're like, it's in the pig pen. Barf, okay? Did it puncture your skin? This is not good. Come on. Like, my youngest will go barefoot into the chicken run. And I'm just like, all right, we're building some immunity. And so working on big feelings and handling them biblically has been such a gift. Because for me to like teach my daughters, like, I submit to your daddy. If he says no, knows the answer. And that is a thing that for me has been a challenge where I want to that's the hill I have chosen. We have my mom's sister is a lesbian and has been with her partner since as long as I think I've been alive. Okay. And my sister's best friend from high school is gay, and my children have had interactions and they know that he is married to a man, and right. And we love them. They're such great guys and Jesus loves them. We just don't agree with the lifestyle. And so that is something that's really important for me to like instill in my children, because hate is everywhere. Hate is everywhere.
Welcome back to the only podcast that is less popular than the Stranger Things finale, the Why Can't We Talk About That podcast. Before getting to the discussion, as always, I just would like to remind you that the only way that anyone will ever know about this podcast is if you tell them. So please do me a favor and spread the word. If you know anyone that would like to be a guest, if you have any feedback for the show, or if you just want to tell me stuff, you can contact me at whycan'twetalkaboutThat@proton.me. My guest this week is Kristen Sutherlin, a homeschool mom with a small-time homestead in the beautiful state of Michigan, who has a big love for real life and a completely unapologetic obsession with her husband. I first met Kristen when she was my health coach in a weight loss program, and before now I had never really discussed anything other than that with her. I had a great time getting to know her in a more real way. Enjoy the conversation.
Yeah.
It's not bad. There's every once in a while there's a slight delay, which isn't a big deal at all, but I just wasn't sure if that was because of my internet or yours, or because you're in Michigan, right? Are you still in Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's way out there.
Yeah, I just saw and I'm in the middle of nowhere, which is why we have Starlink, because we need good internet.
Yeah. So what's the weather been like over there recently?
Oh my gosh, unpredictable, weird. Like, it was no snow for Christmas, and then a couple of days later it snowed. It got really cold. The roads were frozen. This morning it was like 54. Our high today is 58, but it is very windy. We have like 35-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, and so like out my back window here is my pig farm. And I'm wow. Is anybody's house flying away?
Yeah, you're gonna wake up in Oz or something, you know.
Oh, we had a storm last spring, I think, that we have. What it is it's like 2x4 frames, and then they have cattle panels, which are a really thick steel, and they're arched over to create this big hut for them, and then we cover them with tarps to create their wind block. And we had one last year that was just, we built it differently, and it was a little bit smaller and apparently more aerodynamic because it took flight.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it took flight. It came up and like our fencing is, for the most part, where it happened, it's 4x4s with welded wire fencing and then electric fence inside to keep them where they belong.
Okay.
And so the welded wire is really fragile. And the hut came up and over and landed on the fence. So it like bent our fence a little bit. We were able to fix it and get it back where it belonged. But yeah,
that's crazy. So
there's
that's
never
not
a dull moment.
But that's not that. I mean, I thought Michigan it probably gets way colder than that, right? I mean,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the
yeah.
fact that it's this warm right now is crazy. Sean and I have been dealing with like crazy sinus pressure headaches, and I'm like, this is stupid. It's
Yeah.
January. My birthday, there's always, historically, there's like, as long as I can remember, there's always a blizzard on my birthday. And this year there wasn't. And so I was like, but who knows? Like the weather could change at any time. It's going to be a really wet weekend for us.
Okay.
But it's not, it's going to be in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's cold.
which, again, pig farming, like muddy, nasty. No thanks. This is like I detest springtime on the farm because it's just so messy. And so when it gets like this in the winter, I'm just cranky about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because we're in the 50s right now, which is like bitterly cold for us. Like in Southern California, you're like, oh, it's 50 degrees, we're dying over here. And it's like I have a friend in Utah, you guys are in Michigan. There's like so many places where it's actually cold.
Our oldest is stationed in Fort Irwin. Yeah, he's deployed right now. But so he has been so used to that. It's really funny because for him, he's been in the middle of the desert and he's came home and he was like, man, green is really good for me. I forgot. Like Michigan, you can always count on green in the right season. But then he came home and he just came home for Christmas and you go back and forth between these crazy climates. And he's like, I forget what winter in Michigan is like.
Yeah.
It's real cold.
Yeah. I actually have family in Michigan, but I haven't seen them and I've never been to Michigan, but they've been living there for probably like a long time. And but yeah, I've never gone out.
Well, do you know what area?
I don't. I'm sure I've heard it. I know they talk about it, but that'd be funny if they were like near you guys and you guys knew each other. That'd be really funny.
That would be. Yeah.
I mean, I know Michigan's a big state and stuff. That's what people say when people tell me, "Oh, you're from Southern California. Do you know Johnny such and such?" It's like, do you realize how big California is? Like, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, so funny. Okay, so the first thing I do is I just ask 3 questions that have to do with each of the 3 topics that we're going to be kind of in the realm of.
Okay.
And they're just quick answers. I'm going to let you flesh these out as we go, so don't feel like you need to really expound on it now. Okay. It's just I just kind of figure out where we're going, kind of a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
The first one is, if you had to choose just one genre of music, what would that be? As a favorite?
Contemporary Christian.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And politically, do you tend to lean more right or left?
Right.
Okay.
Which is wild. I grew up in a house that's very different.
Right. That's what's interesting, right? So many times we kind of phase out of that and into our own thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just becoming your own person, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the last one is, in 1 word or 2 words, how many words you need, describe your spiritual beliefs.
Essential.
Oh, nice.
Essential and impactful. Just, I mean, my story has, I would say those 2 words.
Well, we are going to get to that for sure then.
Yay.
So we kind of talked a little bit about where you guys are in Michigan. You have a farm. You're married with 5 kids.
Yep. We have 4 children. Okay. 3 together.
Okay.
Our oldest is 23, Tyler, and then together our son just turned 15, Weston. Woo. Geneva will be 13, and I know Geneva will be 13 in February, and my baby Penny just turned 10 in October.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that 15-year-old man, he is just, Ryan. I mean, I adore each of my kids for so many reasons. But that kid, he's the one that really made me a mom. I got to try to, learn the motherly role as a stepmom. He was 5 when I met Sean.
Okay.
And but there, challenges along the way. I will always be Kristen to him.
Right. Right.
Gosh, I'm proud of the young man he's become. But man, my 15-year-old, he's my special needs kid. He is the
Mm.
core reason that we homeschool.
Okay.
He was, well, I say he was the driving force for us to finally say yes to homeschooling.
Hmm.
And he is going to be, this kid carries around a battery powered pocket radio and listens to a radio station called Duke FM, which is like 90s country radio. Okay.
Wow.
He just wants to be a cowboy and a gentleman. And he's working on a mustache, which is not hard with his little blonde hair. Like he's like, you get it in just the right light.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were playing a game over Christmas break, and he's such a smart aleck, and like humor has always been it's always been a part of who he is. Like he didn't talk until he was a little bit older. He had a lot of issues, challenges as a little one, and so his humor, when he couldn't talk to people, he could still get them to laugh.
Mm.
And he had his own little language. It was just very made up with a few real words mixed in when he was little.
Okay.
And over Christmas break, we're playing a game, and he was being silly, and he told us that he was so frustrated he was going to rage shave his mustache. He did not, because apparently, I don't do video games like I did when I was younger. Sean and I like to play video games, but our kids are really into Fortnite.
Oh, mine too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
And so rage quitting, like when you're
Right.
not doing well, rage quitting. So he's like, Mom, I must rage shave my mustache. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And he's had this massive growth spurt. And so it's really weird because he is tall and skinny, just like his daddy.
Mm-hmm.
He's 15, he's 5'10" and weighs like 107 pounds.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's just like,
Yeah. So our
way
youngest
past.
is 15, and
Okay.
he's like 6'5".
Oh, our oldest is 6'6".
Yeah, isn't that gnarly?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Sean is 6'4", but I took like our family picture that we took at Christmas. It is insane how much larger Tyler looks than Sean at only 2 inches difference in height. But it's
Mhm.
because Sean's like $180 and Tyler's like 225.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just this big solid dude. And
Yeah.
when he graduated high school, not what he looked like. So we're like, who is this guy?
Military
But
buffed him up, huh?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and so Weston's like, Mom, I just want to be as tall as Tyler. And I'm like, I am so sorry, but I am like 5 inches shorter than his mom. So
Right.
your odds are a little, but the fact that he's grown so quickly, I'm like, okay, you might have a chance. Height's a touchy topic in our home though, because my older daughter is being caught up on by the younger daughter. And she's like, Mom, I'm gonna be smaller, but I'm the shoulder. I'm the shoulder.
Yes.
I'm the shorter older sister too. So I get it. I'm like, it's okay. We can be in this club together.
Yeah. So your son, the 15-year-old, you said he's special needs. Is he like on the spectrum kind of special needs, or?
Nope. He had a rough entry into this world. And so I'm sure some of that plays into it. But he was vaccine injured as a baby. And had already had a few, like, he had a really, like I said, he had a really rough entry into the world. He was born with a hernia that we actually found for a very different reason. Like, I was concerned about something. We took him in to be seen by a specialist, and they were like, your mom concerns they're nothing. It's okay. Like, they soothed me, but they were like, but did you know that he has a hernia? And so he went in for surgery to repair the hernia, and putting your kid under general anesthesia he wasn't even two, he might have just been 2, or maybe just before he turned 2. And when we were in the consultation, my husband's younger brother had a surgery when he was little that had complications. It was actually a really similar surgery to what our son was going through. And so my father-in-law was like, hey, please just, ask as many questions as you can, do as much research as you can. And so we had a really big, like, clear plan of how we wanted to approach the surgery. We asked the anesthesiologist to stay in the room just because of the volatility of the situation. And they asked us if they could give him a baby epidural, which was like, all right, we already talked about general anesthesia. Now you're asking for
Wow.
more. But there was a reason. And I'm so thankful that the surgeon explained everything the way he did, because he was like, we could get in there. There's three different ways that this hernia could present, and we don't know till we get inside. Because when a baby's developing in the womb, there's a separation. By the time they're born, there's a separation between gut and groin, but that develops. And so they said,
Mm,
as that lining of the abdomen develops and you're, forming everything, it could have a hole. It could be trapped fluid in the groin, or it could be a prolapse. It could be a combination of any of these. And so, um, if we do the baby epidural, that will just allow us, if we get in there and we need more time, that will allow us a safer way to take care of him. And so
right,
we
right.
agreed. And in the post op room, the surgeon was going over his restrictions. And one of them was like no riding or bouncing toys for 2 weeks while he heals. Well, he didn't walk, he wasn't walking yet. And he was almost 2, and there were concerns with his feet and his legs. So he was getting these little custom orthotics that went kind of above his ankle to help turn his toes forward and help him create an arch. And so we were like, it's not a problem. He's already going to be slowed down significantly. That kid was crawling at 6 months. He was surfing furniture, but he would never let go of anything. He always leaned. And
Mm,
you could just see the way his feet and his legs looked were atypical for normal development. And so um, as we were doing all of this, he said, well, why is he getting orthotics? Tell me more. And so we explained, and the surgeon said, okay, well, now you're telling me that he's not walking. He had this hernia that we just fixed. And we noticed when we did his baby epidural, that pink birthmark on his back. So he has, I don't know, maybe about the size of a quarter or 50-cent piece, a pink birthmark right at his lower back. And the surgeon said, have you ever had him screened for spina bifida?
oh,
And
no
we were like,
way.
no. So he ended up going through a bunch of imaging for it. And they basically said, like, his vertebrae is bifidus. There's 2 points where there should be one, but it's fused.
Mm,
So he doesn't have spina bifida, but he has had a lot of he had a lot of physical therapy and stuff when he was little.
mhm.
Um, and the vaccine injury just set him back. He
Oh,
went
boy.
from kind of like that was that is a topic that it's a sensitive topic for people, right?
Yeah,
We made up our minds before we had kids that we weren't going to vaccinate. At least we were going to give them the chance to make the decision. We did a lot of research on the blood-brain barrier and the individual vaccines, did a ton of reading on both sides of the fence, made our minds up. And before he was a year old, he had croup, bronchitis, and pneumonia. And he was just,
dang.
yeah, it was rough. He had a really, really rough go.
Mm,
But our doctor was so sensitive to our choice. Like, she was respected us. She shared her own view and the practices that she was, exercising with her children. And so she was the perfect pediatrician for us at
mm,
that stage. And I had him in one day when there was another provider covering for her, and she basically attacked me
mm.
in like just a matter of words, basically telling me if my son died, that it was going to be my fault for not
Right.
protecting him.
Yeah.
And so in tears, I'm calling my husband. I'm a first time mom. I'm 23 years old. I'm trying to make the best decisions I know how to. And you start to like waver on your own convictions and like, well, is she right? Am I making the wrong choice? And so we had him vaccinated, and because it had been quite some time since we had done our research, I wasn't in my logical brain in the moment thinking about how many times they would want to give him this specific vaccine. And
Right.
so, in my mind, I'm just like, just say yes so we can get out of here and I can take him home. And
Hmm.
um, um yeah, it was a couple months later. We were back for something else, and they were like, oh, he needs his booster. And I'm like, oh, so he ended up having 2 rounds of the DTaP injection. And my son just changed. He stopped wanting to talk. His palate regressed. Everything just like kind of reversed itself. He was still my boy, but things were
Right.
just harder.
So what's
So,
so amazing about a story like that is a firsthand experiential. Your kid was this way. He
mhm.
got the booster and then he wasn't. Yet there's
Yeah.
so many people that will say, no, no, vaccines don't
Yeah.
have anything to do with that. And it's not it at all. It was
And
something
it's
different.
just
It's like, what a
heartbreaking to
coincidence.
me. It's just heartbreaking to me to the division that
Hmm.
happens, because this is my perspective is like, okay, you know what? I was fully vaccinated as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Even our oldest, and he got more than we did, but it's just not a one size fits all. We're no person is one size fits all, and you just
Right.
don't know how your body can react to certain things. And if that's the risk that we take because of the decisions that we've made, like
Hmm.
we have to just be strong enough in our convictions to trust those decisions.
Sure.
But at the same time, I have been persecuted. I maybe that's a little harsh of a term, but for my choices not to. Um, a blood relative, I won't go dirty, okay? But I had a blood relative tell me once, like,
Yeah.
if I get this, like, it was post COVID and just happened to one of my kids. Totally, like, my kids are so healthy because of that. So I will say my girls have had zero.
Mm,
My son has had nothing else.
okay.
Um, and so because of that, we actually, and it was a couple of years later after we started seeing all these things happening with him. He got into school before he was 3 years old. Or he qualified for an early childhood special education program. He was originally diagnosed with a speech and language delay, and then it became a speech and language impairment. And so he had an IEP in schools and stuff like that. So we started doing all of these things so early and just kind of trying to backtrack ourselves
Yeah. Yeah.
and but to have, so because of that, I'm kind of all over the place. Like, we're in this post COVID world and one of my kids gets it, and because my kids have, it is my belief that
Hmm.
because they've had none, they are just incredibly healthy kids.
Yeah.
They don't get sick often. If they
Right.
do, it's like an ear infection, and we put some garlic ear oil on a cotton ball, which they hate because
Yeah.
it stinks, but they wake up the next morning feeling so much better.
Right.
And we
Right.
don't have to go through antibiotics, and
Yeah.
we use Western medicine when we need it, but when
Yeah.
we can take care of ourselves alternatively, we do. And I had somebody say, oh, well, if I get this because your kid got it and I die because I'm compromised, it's going to be your fault.
Yeah.
And
See,
this was a
that's,
blood relative, and my husband was in the same room and he was like, nope, mm-mm.
hmm,
She may be your blank, but she's my wife,
right.
and
Right.
you're not going to talk to her that way. And so, I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen both sides of it. I've been questioned, I've been criticized. Um,
Yeah.
my son actually stepped on a really gross. They were playing hide and seek with the farm boys across the street. Okay. But they were in our backyard. They're playing hide and seek with their walkie talkies. And all of a sudden, the kids come running around the house and they're like, Weston stepped on a nail.
Ooh.
And I'm just like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's in the pig pen. Barf. Okay. Did it puncture your skin? This is not good. Come on. Like,
Uh,
I my youngest will go barefoot into the chicken run, and I'm just like, all right, we're building some immunity,
there you
But
go.
now we're puncturing skin. Now we're puncturing skin. And I'm just like, oh, and they tell me so Weston at this point, he's 14, a little boy across the street that he's hiding with is 9. And it's actually not a nail, it's a screw.
Ooh.
And it's through a piece of lumber.
Ugh.
So it's screw into shoe with, so he's like, he can't get it out of his shoe. He apparently was able to reach
Gosh.
down and like get it out of the tip, like get the tip out of his foot. But then he's
Mhm.
got this 9-year-old neighbor boy yanking a piece of lumber out of the bottom of his tennis shoe. And I'm just like, this is real life.
Mhm.
This is real life. And
Yeah.
so now we got to worry about tetanus. And what do we do now? And
Right.
so,
Right. I am
yeah.
right there with you on that. We had our younger one, our oldest is 27, certain vaccines, but then by the time we were with the second one, who's now 23, we started to become, we call ourselves informed vaxxers, right? Not so much,
Yes,
not anti-vaxxers per se, but
exactly.
right, like looking at certain ones. But we always used to get the hounding from the doctors because we never got our kids the chickenpox vaccine or anything like that because we were like, oh, your kid has
My kids all
chickenpox,
got
come on over.
chicken pox.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's the way to do it, right?
chicken pox parties.
yeah, but the doctor would always make us feel like, if your kid has chicken pox, he might be fine. But if you go to school and there's some kid who's got immunodeficiency or something and he could die and that would be your fault. And it's like, are you kidding me, dude? Really?
And the thing is that I get like my heart has had to just soften on the topic because what people just don't know, they just don't know. And it's not their fault because we're seasoned to just believe and trust in our medical providers. And I have a girlfriend who is a nurse and still practices, but she's also a homeschooling mom.
Okay.
And her daughter, who is probably about 16, 17 now, had Lyme disease.
Ooh.
And they never found a tick on her. And so seeing what she experienced because of her Lyme disease as a little girl, we're talking so when I met her it was about 10 years ago. And she was actively battling Lyme disease. And I want to say in the last 5 years, she has officially cured her daughter
Oh,
of Lyme
wow.
disease. They went through rigorous testing and she has just dove herself into all of the natural ways to heal the body, to detox the body. And I mean, hyperbaric chambers and just all sorts of crazy, amazing treatments that she went through to heal her of it. And
Yeah.
it was quite an experience just to
Yeah.
witness, to see like, okay, there's hope,
Well, it's funny because Lyme disease is one of those things that they claim there is no cure for. So that's fascinating.
yeah.
Hmm.
It is incredible. I mean, that's so I would say, because I can't 100% guarantee a cure, that is what they've said. We have rid Leah of her Lyme disease. So
Wow.
whether that's 100% symptom free or 90% symptom free is just,
Hmm.
it's remarkable. And it's, I don't know. Here's the crazy thing, Ryan. Before getting pregnant, I never had any questions about vaccine.
Mm.
But I happen to have brothers there's a big gap between us. And so like a 10-year age gap. So I was the second of the children in my family to have children. And
Mm.
my brother and his wife had made a choice not to vaccinate. And I said, why? Can you
Right.
tell me why? And they were like, no, we won't tell you why, but we will give you all of the resources that we use.
Okay.
And they like sent me a list of books, and it was very, very interesting. The top two books I won't ever forget. It was Mommyhood Diagnostics and Childhood Vaccines, or Childhood
Mm.
Vaccinations, something like that. And they talked about both sides of the fence. One lady was actually, I want to say, because now it's been 15, 16 years since I read the book, but I believe she was a nurse who had fully vaccinated all of her children. And now in her, like, my kids are grown and I'm learning more and I'm doing research and like educating. And it was like down to the nitty gritty of the last time there was an outbreak and what the actual like likelihood of, permanent damage from things were. It was so interesting to us to be able to read through all of it. And there's scary parts of anything, but
Sure. Sure.
yeah. So our kids know, like, they had chicken pox, my goodness. And this is okay. Here's the funny thing. My youngest was the one that got chicken pox. I want to say she was over a year old. So it was like 2016. And she had chicken pox and I was convinced. So I called my doctor and I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure what you would like me to do, if I need to, because I kind of need to know. I have a kid in public school.
Right.
And so they were like, oh, well, don't bring her here because we have quite a overflow of elderly patients today. So call around and see if you can find, an urgent care. So I found one that, because they were like, you're going to want to call and let them know what you're bringing in. So they tell you whether or not to come in the building.
Right.
And they were like, oh, it's not chicken pox. No, 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 no. And I'm just like, okay, cool. She had like 8 blisters on her body. Okay.
Wow.
And that was about the worst of it.
Okay.
And so she became like a fun experiment for me because was like I was very convinced. I had always heard it described as a dewdrop on a rosebud. And I'm like, I'm telling you, this is chicken pox. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. So they're like, we'll swab it. We'll swab it just to satisfy your motherly curiosity. But we're telling you she's fine. Sure enough. But so then there's like a medical student rushing in. He's like, oh, I heard we got chicken pox in here. I'm like, can I see? Like, oh my gosh. It
Oh
was
man.
so it
Like it's
went
this
bam, bam.
medical thing that nobody's ever seen before
Oh
or
my
something.
gosh. Yeah. It was like just new world discovery or
Oh
something,
my
I guess.
gosh.
But
That's too funny,
so
man.
it went bam like one after another. She had the least, and I got some hot bodied babies, so they suffered a little bit. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I had girlfriends that are like, "Can we come over?"
Yeah. See, that's the
Yeah,
old-fashioned way of doing it, right? You
I
you
we
want people to come over and get infected.
they all my crunchy mama friends were
Hmm.
like, "Party at Kristen's house."
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just, and then we had to go have because I'm trying to remember if my daughter was in, she must have been in like pre-K that year, because in order for my older two to go to school, they required us to go in and have them tested for the antibodies to show that
Mm,
they were immune to it. And
right.
man, talk about traumatizing, because they were like first needle experience that they could
Yeah,
remember, and they were not having it. But
right. Right. Wowzers.
oh my goodness, it was, yeah. So,
Okay. Cool.
but
All right. Well, that was definitely a political topic there we jumped into. Thanks. That was pretty awesome. It's funny, I have a friend who he was a firefighter at the time. He's not now, but he when the COVID vaccine and they were trying to say you had to take it
oh
or else get fired and all that, and he was very outspoken about, no, I'm not taking the vaccine. And
yeah,
he was on the news because of it, and like they interviewed him and stuff, and in the
really.
headline he was being called a militant anti-vaxxer. So now whenever I
Shut the
talk to him,
front
that's
door.
his
Are
new
you
nickname.
kidding
No,
me?
that's what I call him. Dude,
What's up?
you militant anti-vaxxer. So it's kind of funny.
Oh,
But to kind of switch gears here, let's
yeah.
jump into some music stuff. Um,
Oh,
so you already said music's a huge part of your life.
yeah.
I'm the same way. I from as long as I can remember, it's been such a crucial part of my life up until now. And obviously that's gone through so many different genres and changes and
a
things
hundred
about that.
percent.
So where does your musical journey start for you?
Okay, so my earliest memories
Hmm.
are listening to classic country with my dad.
Okay.
My dad sings. My
Oh
dad
wow.
whistles. My dad sings. Like, we were in the church choir together when
Mm,
I was younger. Um, my dad can harmonize, and so can I. And so I just grew up listening to country. Country
mhm.
is a huge, huge part of my life. My wedding song is a country song, and
What song is
but
it?
I rem I Need You by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, Ryan, our I tried to find it. And if I do, I know I have extra copies. If I find one, I'm going to have to mail it to you.
Okay.
Our wedding favor to all of our wedding guests was a mixtape CD.
Oh, so cool.
And I had the coolest computer that burned an image of Sean and I, one of our engagement photos, onto the front of it.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Yeah,
What
we
year did
were
you guys get married?
2009.
Okay, so that was pretty cool back then. I mean, that
Yeah,
was that was state of
definitely.
the art.
Oh my gosh, we were such nerds. But yeah, so my earliest memory, I grew up on a very busy main road, and our house was actually really close to the road. A gas station had been stationed where our house was. And
Okay.
so the soil at my house as a kid, very crumbly, dry soil because it was a gas station. So I have
Hmm.
all these memories of like I spent my whole childhood outside. And the thing that I remember is riding my bicycle because it was a gas station. We had this big like arch driveway. And so it was kind of dangerous because people would try to turn around in. But
Yeah.
I remember riding my bicycle with my Walkman, listening to like Garth Brooks and Michael Jackson cassette tapes.
That's an interesting mix.
I know. I mean, it was just what was at the house, I guess
Yeah.
maybe. I don't remember my parents ever buying me um like specifically buying me cassette tapes. So it must
Okay.
have just been what was there. And also like I had older brothers, right? So whatever they left behind.
Okay.
But I remember that I joined, so I loved music my whole childhood. In 5th grade, I joined band, started playing the clarinet.
Okay.
I in 7th grade, I switched to tenor saxophone and I
Mhm.
played that until I was in college.
Oh,
I did
wow.
a I did a college jazz ensemble for a year. Um, and then I ended up in cosmetology school. So when I enrolled in cosmetology school, I dropped the jazz because I just my work schedule. I needed to be able to go to school and work.
Hmm.
Um, but I music was a huge part of it because summer of my freshman, no, yeah, summer of my freshman year. I grew up going to like fine arts camps, okay? Because of my music. And so I had gone to this place up north in Michigan called Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp. And I went every summer from like probably 6th grade on. And I auditioned summer of 8th grade when I was there to be a part of their international ensemble, which was an ensemble that would go to Europe
Oh, wow.
and tour.
Fun.
Yeah. And I got accepted. I got first chair tenor sax for this ensemble.
Dang.
And so I there were only two of us,
Woo.
okay? It was
Yeah.
but I got first chair and of everybody that entered like auditioned that summer and I got to go so that summer I auditioned the following summer instead of going to camp it was 7 cities in 5 countries in 3 weeks at
Mm.
15 years old.
That's so
Okay.
awesome. That's so cool.
It was so memorable. It was a blast. Now I'll tell you her name and you can Google her later, or you could look now. But
Okay.
so you have kids, so you've seen all the Shrek movies,
Yes.
right? And this is really funny because I had not connected the dot for many years, but I have a child that shares the same name as our director from that tour
Oh, wow.
because her name was Penny Dobb, like
Okay.
Sob, but with a D.
Okay.
And she was a very, very petite woman. And she wore these funny shoes that had like they were black and they had like springs in the heels. They were really popular in like the early 2000s. I
Yeah.
remember because there was a summer camp that I went to that one of the speakers, a different summer camp that I went to that one of the speakers wore them. He looked like Mr. Bean.
Nice.
But my band director Penny Dobb, she and I say this with no disrespect, she looks like Lord Farquaad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No joke,
All right.
hairstyle and all. Okay.
All right.
Like it was a trip, but she just made our trip so much fun. And
Yeah.
you got a bunch of high schoolers traveling
Yeah.
around Europe, living with host families. I have some pretty crazy allergies,
Okay.
and I had a really bad allergic reaction at my first host family,
Oh,
which
man.
the wife didn't speak English.
Okay.
The husband refused to speak English to you if you didn't speak German.
Okay.
And so you were relying on their teenage kids who knew some English. And my
Okay.
and my host, like my companion from the band that could speak a little German, they
Yeah.
had taken us horseback riding. You had to fill out a profile of all the things you loved. And I have always loved horses,
Hmm.
also severely allergic to them.
Ah,
Um,
dang it.
so I had this this hives and rash all over me. And I'm like,
Oh,
how do you say
man.
hydrocortisone cream in German? Like,
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
yeah. And then
Wow.
they gave me something probably equivalent to Benadryl, and I took a nap outside on their back patio and ended up with a sunburn. It was so
Oh, boy. And
it
that
was
was in
memorable.
Germany?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, did you name your daughter after that teacher you had or that?
absolutely not. Okay,
Okay.
Ryan. We have very specific reasons for naming our children. Like each
Okay.
of them has a story behind their name.
Hmm.
And then we get to the youngest. Okay, so I say each of them. Weston and Geneva have very, very specifically thought out names. Well, when it comes time to have our last, we did not know Geneva's gender until she was born. She's the only one that was a surprise. We were gonna do it for baby number 3, but
Yeah.
I all of a sudden had 4 big blue eyes looking at me saying, "But we need to know what kind of baby, mom." So like when I was pregnant with Geneva, Weston didn't really have the language or
Yeah.
the curiosity. He was just like baby.
Right.
But now Geneva, the that girl could talk, she didn't stop. And it's weird. I don't know where she got it from.
Yeah.
But they wanted to know. And so we find out. And at this point, we had a boy name and a girl name.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Lord, if I could remember what the boy name is now, it's been a long time,
Right.
but,
Yep.
but it was Piper Marie. And Piper did not have any significance to us other than the fact that we were just like, we like it.
Yeah.
We just like it.
Yeah.
So, let me tell you, when Sean was like, if we have a girl, I want to name her Geneva. I was like, that is the oldest lady name I have ever heard. No way, Jose. And then I got out my baby naming book, which a girlfriend gave me when I was pregnant with my first. And it has scriptures and like inherent and connotative meanings for every name. And when I read that Geneva meant juniper tree, and I read about juniper trees and how deep and strong their roots are, I was like, okay, her name can be Geneva.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but with Penny, it was like, Piper doesn't mean anything. So I called my girlfriend. We're sitting in the parking lot of the OB's office, and I'm like, her name's Rochelle. I'm like, Rochelle, I found out it's gonna be a girl. And she's like, oh my gosh, what's her name? And I was like, Piper Marie. And she's like, oh, that's so cute. Are you sure that you want to give your daughter the initials PMS? And I was like, oh
no.
Yeah.
You'd probably never thought of that, huh?
So not a chance. But I'm like, that the minute that time comes, I will be the worst mom in the world for giving her those initials.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board. So we're sitting in the parking lot, and Sean has named all of our kids. Like, I just want to, okay.
Yeah.
But he's so good at it. So Marie is my middle name. And Marie is my grandmother's middle name. And so, and me and my grandma, we're just super tight. That's my mama. You know, she's 87 and she's everything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. My grandparents they're both 87 and they've been married since they were 19.
Wow.
So I just want to be like her when I grow up, maybe just a little less cranky.
Yeah.
But, so we're like, okay, Piper Marie is not going to work. And Sean goes, hey, what was that little girl's name from the Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie? Like, it had just come out. We had just watched it. And he's like, I just remember thinking it was a really neat name. And so I look it up and her name is Penny. But I'm like, she's the mean girl. We're not naming our daughter after the mean girl in this movie. And now you're going to tell me like that I have to pick a different middle name because it'll still be Marie.
Right.
And so I'm like, I'm grumbling about it. A couple of days later, I'm scrolling through my Facebook and this poem pops into my newsfeed, and it's called Pennies from Heaven. And it talks about how a found penny isn't a lost one. It's a penny sent from your angel in heaven. And Penny was a rainbow baby for us.
Okay.
And so I read that poem and I'm just like, oh, okay, she's my lost, like she's the penny from my angel in heaven. And so I'm like, this does not solve the middle name issue.
Right.
And so we just really thought, so she's Penny Joy.
And there you go.
So her nickname is PJ.
Okay.
And then Geneva, she's Geneva Grace. So we call her Gigi when she was little, but now she's more like, you can call me Neva.
Yeah.
So.
At least she's going with the nickname. Sometimes, especially with girls, they get to a certain age, they're like, no, I don't want to be called that anymore. I want to be called my full name.
Yes. Yes. They get everything in this house. She's Gigi, she's sister. Yeah. They have many nicknames, but
that's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I got to know about, Michael Jackson and Garth Brooks in the cassette tapes you're saying so that you think that was just inherited from your older brothers, or?
I don't know where those came from, but they were there. And I mean, the love for Garth Brooks was Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
They were like Dwight Yoakam. My son loves Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah.
Just, classic country that just kind of definitely came from my dad. But then, I mean, I grew up, I'm a 90s, 2000s. Like I was born in 87.
Okay.
So you think about the music that came out when I was in school, like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and 98 Degrees and Britney Spears and like all those things. Like they have like that space in the back of me, but they are so small in the world of music for me today. Like
Okay.
I Spotify, I just got on Spotify.
I
Okay.
still
Within the
haven't.
last year. I have
I'm
been an
still.
Amazon music girl for
Okay.
so long.
Yeah.
And my niece, who is 19, um, has written a few songs and performed them. And so she was actually going to a local college here and had a class that where like one of her professors took her into the studio, recorded it, and helped her get
Oh,
it on
cool.
Spotify. And so I had to get Spotify to hear her songs.
Oh, there you
And
go.
and then I was like, man, this is so much better than
Yeah.
Amazon Music.
What's the singer's name and the song? I want to check it out. Yeah.
She has self-taught she's taught herself how to play the guitar.
That's
And
so cool.
so she was going to Spring Arbor University here for music. She's taken this year off. Um Alice is her name.
Yeah.
But it's fun because we're always like sending each other oh, it's called Hope Spark on SoundCloud.
Okay. That's the name of the
Oh wait.
song.
Oh wait, no, listen to As We Abide by Alice. Now I don't know what she sent me. I need to
Does
look
she
and
have
see what this
multiple
is.
songs that she put on there, or
I
just the
think
one?
she's got a couple. I
Okay.
need, you know what? I'm just gonna text her. Hey, will you send me your link to your Spotify?
There you go. And then you can just text it to me and then I'll have it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So then as you so when things like Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, all that
Oh,
stuff, did you like it
oh,
when it came out?
yeah.
Okay. You're just saying that like
Oh
now
yes.
as an
Oh my
adult, you're like,
gosh.
whatever, I don't care
I
anymore.
was all in, all
Okay.
in. Yeah. My sister and I like mixed tapes, mixed CDs were a huge thing. Playlists, like making each other playlists. My sister and
Yeah.
I, we were super, super tight when we were
Okay.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Um,
Is she
yeah,
older or younger than you?
younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're a year and a half apart, and our brothers are a year and a half apart, but there's a 10-year gap between us.
Oh, dang. Okay. And that's what, like junior high age, like early high
Yes. Oh
school? Okay.
gosh, definitely junior high. I graduated in 2005.
Okay.
So, some of my influences that actually stuck with me. There's one band that I really got into. It was a high school boyfriend introduced me to them, and I just like went all in, fell in love with their music. And worst boyfriend ever, by the way.
Just in
he's the
case
one
he's
that
listening.
he's the one that taught me like what I didn't want anymore, like what I
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
going to settle for. And he
Yeah.
was the longest relationship I had before I met my husband. And
Okay.
so um yeah, so then here I am, like I dated him like 2005 to 2006. I met Sean in 2007.
Oh wow.
And so I'm still,
Okay.
it was Coldplay. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
my high school boyfriend introduced me to Coldplay. I just loved them. And then I was like, so I Viva La Vida came out in 2009, I think, maybe about the year we got married.
Hmm.
I was trying to remember. And so that was like my chance to introduce Sean to something that he had not listened to before. And so the Viva La Vida album, like we have that on record.
Okay.
Just for the sentimental
Yeah.
value of it with us.
Like he had
Uh
never heard Coldplay before you showed it
it
to
was
him?
just not his jam. Like,
Okay.
okay, my husband and I have very different tastes in music. Okay. We have now
Yeah.
come together. Like there's another band. So you probably know Need to Breathe.
Oh yeah. I've seen them
Yeah.
live.
Oh,
Yeah.
jelly.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was really good. Yeah.
So, yeah, Need to Breathe is a big one for us. Like their Outsiders album came out in the very like early years of Sean and Kristen.
Hmm.
And yeah, 2009. Outsiders launched in 2009.
Yeah.
So that was the
Yeah.
year we got married. That was the year church Sean and I started going to church together.
Okay.
So music and church have a big connection for me. I've been
Sure.
on worship teams like I have not joined the worship team at our current church, which has been like the Lord was like, you need to rest.
Yeah. Have they
I was
asked
like,
you though? Have they
okay.
asked you to?
Uh, one of my girlfriends is on, and so she's like, you should join us. But it's a
Yeah.
very big church, and it is the biggest church we've ever gone to.
Okay.
And it is wonderful. They have an incredible youth program for our kids. But Sundays are precious time for us,
Yeah.
as a family, and it has 3 services. So like,
Woo!
yeah, first service starts at 8, third service ends at 12:30.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where like we came to this church to rest. Our family went through something pretty
Yeah.
pretty big and needed some rest. And so he's just been protecting that for us. But so the
Yeah.
music side of me is like just, soaking it in.
Yeah. So is a part of you
But
wants to do it eventually, right? But you're just kind of waiting until the right time, or
um I don't think that this no, I know this. I know that this church isn't forever for us.
okay.
Um I like we went through a very, very, very hard thing as a family.
Hmm.
Um and had to make a decision to leave our home church that we had been at for 7, 8 years.
Oh wow.
Um yeah. And so when we made that move, it was like the Lord was like, protect your family,
Right.
protect your hearts, protect your family, heal. And
Yeah.
so it was a decision that was really hard for us to make. And we went to a couple of different places that were just like this, it's nice, but we had a very I don't know, just standards for what we expected for youth involvement for our kids. We didn't want to just put them in like a small little classroom where we needed to make sure that there was a substance being
Sure.
provided.
Of
And
course.
one of the
Yeah.
churches that we went to, it was such a great message, such a great community, but they were still a very baby church. And I I know that every church has to grow. But I couldn't put my kids, especially my youngest, in a room where it was, kind of video monitors and coloring pages. And
Yeah.
so stepping into this church, Sean was like, this is big. We
Yeah.
are the church that we had come from was still a big church, probably about 500 people between the 2 services. And we served at our lab. We were there for 7 years, and we had our roles, and we were very comfortable. And um serving is something that we've always loved to do. And so because it was music
Sure.
for me and hospitality for my husband, he's a people person. And
Right. Right.
um so stepping in here, it's very we recognize people. Our
Hmm.
children's principal from their old school is there. There's a couple of the teachers there. Some
Yeah.
young families that like a young family that my husband went to high school with, both of the parents.
Well,
There's a
if you
lot,
said
and
it's
there's
a
a lot of
small,
homeschoolers.
you said it's a huge, I mean, if you got 3 services, that's a huge
It
congregation.
is
And you
very
guys live in a
large.
somewhat smaller town, right?
Oh my gosh, like the town that we live in. So this church is just in our county. It
Hmm.
takes us about 15 minutes to get there. Where
Okay.
we live, the city we live in is actually a village. So
Nice.
we have 2 stop signs, I
Okay.
think.
That's awesome.
And I don't like it takes me 10 minutes to get into town.
Yeah.
So
That's
we
the
are
best,
true.
though. I love that.
It
Because
is
you're not
so good.
far enough away from town to where you feel like, oh, if there's an
Yes.
emergency, we're done for or whatever. But then you're far enough away to where you feel like you're kind of, well, it sounds like you guys are doing it. You're living kind of that homesteading lifestyle like the old days, like,
Yes.
which is like you watch,
Attempting.
yeah, like you watch like
Yeah.
Little House on the Prairie or something. You're like,
Dude,
that's
we watch
exactly
it
what
on
we want.
Roku TV,
Yeah,
okay?
see? Yeah, exactly. And you're probably like, oh, this is us. We're watching our own life story here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we were watching an episode this week.
Hmm.
This is so funny that you say this, because one of the books we read early in our school year was Little House in the Big Woods.
Yeah.
And so then my husband was like, Kristen, did you know that Roku TV has a Little House on the Prairie channel? Like, we should just watch it with them.
Yeah.
So we are watching one episode, and it was, I want to say it was like season 3, and they're out traveling for gold, right?
Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
traveling to find the gold towns. And you see them stake their claim, and they're in the river, and they're mining for, like they're sifting for gold, and they
Yeah.
take it into town, and they see the whole trade and everything. And then we were reading 2 days ago in our homeschooling, and now I'm going to have to remember who it was, because the mom brain has, I don't have an external hard drive, so
I wish I did. That'd be great,
I
man.
wish
I wish you could just go buy that at the store and just connect
yeah.
it to my brain or something.
I want to say it was something, because we're reading this book called A Child's History of the World,
Hmm.
and it was written in like 1917.
Okay.
And it was just, we were on Babylonian times, I think,
Hmm.
and talking about the lack of currency and how there was gold. And this one specific person, it might have been a Babylonian. Is this, maybe it was when we were talking about King Nebuchadnezzar? I can't remember. I
Okay.
probably got my facts mixed up, but he would stamp his gold with
Yeah.
his seal because to guarantee that he knew the exact weight of the gold. So
Mm.
they were like, if you didn't have goods and stuff to trade, they would trade with gold. And so he was not wasteful with his gold. He had them stamped so he could guarantee. And that was kind of like the first coin,
Okay. Okay.
Um,
That's
so
cool. Really
but
cool.
so they were like, we were just watching this on Little House on the Prairie, Mom. Like they were weighing their gold. Like
That's such
full
a great
circle
show. I
moments.
mean, that show, I mean, I watched it when I was a kid with my dad, and
Mm-hmm.
to rewatch it again with my kids, it's just like such a neat, like to me,
See,
it's
and
still good.
did not. I did
Okay.
not, and I love it. My husband's like, "Oh, Kristen, you're just like Laura," and I'm like, "Wait, like I don't know who you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm not very graceful sometimes. I
Yeah.
mean, he was there for my injured up summer this year. Like, I have not got as much grace as that lady, and I'm
Yeah.
also not as handy as her, but I try.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, where were we at? We were
We were
at
talking about music,
oh right, and
and
we got to you were talking about Need to Breathe and how that
yeah,
was an instrumental band for you guys
yeah,
in your marriage. So at what point so did you grow up in the church?
I did.
Okay.
So my dad did not. I don't even think my mom did.
Okay.
Honestly, I've never asked, I guess, how they got into a church, if it was just because they had moved and made friends or something that
Okay.
invited them. But I grew up in a very, very small town Methodist church.
Okay.
I was baptized as a baby. That small town church was so small that there was a town right next door that had another church, and both of
Hmm.
those churches shared the pastor.
Oh,
So
wow.
our church had our church was like 8 o'clock service, and their church was like 11 o'clock
And it
service or
was in
something
two
like that.
different buildings?
Two different churches, two different cities. So my church,
That's so funny.
but okay, we're talking like they're 15 minutes apart from each other because this
Right.
is kind of not, it's like sort of a rural area, but sort of not. Um, and the church that I grew up in was called Gunnisonville United Methodist Church. And right across the road was Gunnisonville Schoolhouse, which was like an old schoolhouse that my mom went to when she was little until
Hmm.
like a certain age when my grandparents are married in the cemetery there. My mom's parents
Mm.
are. But then when I was 13, my mom's parents passed away 6 months apart from each other.
Oh, dang.
Unexpectedly, my grandma had a brain aneurysm, and then my grandpa had a cancer that just he really died of a broken heart.
Isn't that weird how
Yeah,
that
I was when I was
happens? That's so
yeah,
common.
it really is, and part of it, like my grandpa had a troubled life.
Hmm.
There was mental health issues with his father, and his mother was a Christian Scientist who died because of an ailment that she wouldn't seek treatment for.
Mm.
She had a goiter on her
Oh.
neck, and she died because of it. And then, so my grandpa was not, because of his experience growing up with his mother, and then he lost his father as a young man, just battled mental health issues. And so my grandpa was like, doctors, no. The one doctor he never argued about going to was his eye doctor.
Oh, okay.
He was the lawyer, but he was like the small town lawyer. Like that's how my mom's sister raised pigs, was like raised baby pigs, because he bartered some, law services, legal services for pigs. And
Hmm.
so so yeah, when they passed away, my mom and dad bought my grandparents' house,
Okay.
and we moved into it. So my parents still live there in the house that my grandpa built when
Oh,
my
so
mom
cool.
yeah, it is cool. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah. Is that close
Like
to where you guys are though? Or is it
they're 45 minutes from us.
okay?
Um
Not too bad.
it's not bad. Um we're not super close.
Oh, okay.
Like we are, but we're not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the outsider, and like yes and no. Like my brother Justin and his wife, we live about an hour apart from each other. We're very close. My sister-in-law is actually the one that prayed with me when I asked Jesus to save me, like when I
Oh,
received
wow.
salvation. That was really cool. I was summer of seventh grade. So I
Hmm.
was like 12, 13 years old,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but
Well,
so
we're
I'm
going to
really
get to the
close with
testimony
them.
part. I want to get
Yeah.
to that testimony I just wrote that down, so it's in junior high. But
um,
I'm curious, like growing up in a Christian home with when it comes to music, were your
yes.
parents were they very strict on like no secular
No.
music, or were
No,
they
so that is where we very much so differ. Like
okay?
I grew up being, you know, shepherded in a very lukewarm way.
Mm,
Um I At least that's how I received it.
okay.
But I also know, like, I've gone back to my parents still attend the same church.
Wow.
When we moved into my grandparents' house, the church that we were at from our childhood had just a couple of kids, and we were popular. My sister and I were kind of like, we've kind of always been like the outcasts, like unpopular. Like we were just, the situations of our life put us in that category growing up. Our
Right.
peers put us in that category. And so, like, because we just had less and people liked to treat us that way, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so moving from that church over to the second church, they had a bigger youth group.
Okay.
And so we switched over there when I want to say 13 years old, and
Hmm.
my sister and I found our people. We attended all of the youth things growing up, like Acquire the Fire and, like winter
Oh,
jam things.
nice.
And we would go to church camps in the summer. My brother, Justin, his wife actually were camp counselors, or my sister-in-law was a camp counselor
Hmm.
at this one church camp that I would go to one summer. Um, but overall, like, I was a rebellious teenager.
Hmm.
I there was a lot of rules, but they weren't, like, nobody really enforced them in my home. I grew up in a very loud home.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was uh fight till you win.
Mm,
Like argue till you win.
yeah.
Um Always needing to be right. The head of household wasn't biblical.
Okay.
Okay.
Abuse of
Still
power kind of a thing.
uh just roles reversed.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So yeah, it's yeah, it's I'm having to unlearn a lot of things as a wife.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just
Yeah.
leave it at that. Um, I need my husband's logical, stable brain
Yeah.
for all of the right reasons because he is far less emotional than I am. I grew up in a very emotional household.
Okay.
And when there's three females and one male,
Whew.
there was a power imbalance.
Yeah.
I had a very loving childhood, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just know that at who I am and growing up into becoming a woman and a wife and a believer,
Hmm.
like there's some very, very strong convictions that I have that my family doesn't
Sure.
understand.
Yep.
Like actually submitting to my husband and being an
Hmm.
obedient wife. Um,
Which you even say those words these days.
oh
And
my
women, in fact, there's women
gosh.
listening
And
to
I'm
this
some victim.
episode. Yeah, they're listening to this right now and they're going, "Oh my gosh. What is this?
Okay,
Handmaid's Tale?"
so here's the deal. Here's the deal. I am such a loud, big person. I love to talk. I love to have my way. I'm very stubborn. Um, I have learned, I was always told, oh, you talk too much. I had to learn um the
Uh,
communication truly is a strength for me.
yeah.
And I have blind spots in that strength, but I just stop letting people squash my voice.
Hmm.
Um, has been a big deal, but my husband has had to teach me, like, oh, so graciously. He has been so patient. Like,
Hmm.
we've been together for so long, and there's still things where I'm like, I am so sorry that I still haven't quite figured this out. I am working on that. Like, there was this reel that I saw a few weeks ago, and I saved it because I have this little album on my Facebook that is wisdom. Like, anytime I see a video where I'm like, oh, that is such a good little nugget. And I want to hold on to that because I took away from it, or I want to pour into my kids with this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this
Like a
one
little
reel that I
saying,
saw, and it was,
like a meme or something, or like a,
no, it's usually like whatever the content is. Like, so for this example, it was a woman in the kitchen with her son,
okay.
and she was like, all right, read this verse to me. And they do this often. They do, like, they're a homeschool family, and
Mm-hmm.
they were, maybe it's like kind of a little Bible study for them. But has him read this verse, and he says, that it's easier for a husband to live on the corner of a roof than with a contentious wife.
Mm.
And so she, with her son, is like, she's like, do you know? He's like, what does contentious mean? And she's like, quarrelsome.
Yeah.
And so they talk, and so she's got daughters too, and she's like talking to all of them, and she's like, this means, like, it is our job to not be quarrelsome. Like, our husbands would rather live on the corner of the roof than to live with a wife that is quarrelsome. And so that's not to say that, the quarrels don't happen and all that, but like really truly learning to control your tongue. And I look at my daughter, who is my 12-year-old, is very spicy. And I adore every single ounce of her spiciness because she is me. And I know that this girl, she is so strong in her conviction. She's very articulate that her voice is going to make so many, just so many amazing things happen in her life. But
Sure.
I read her this verse, and she has the same instinctual reaction that I do. That's like, oh, you're calling me quarrelsome? Like, like it was the most painful realization to her that,
Yeah.
babe, I am helping you work on these same challenges that I am walking through as an adult while you are a little girl, because I know that your feelings are so big and they're so real.
Right.
And because especially when you have like a teenage boy that likes to make jokes, and then the sensitive girl, and he also doesn't he has the awkward laugh. So when somebody gets hurt, sometimes he laughs, and it's not like it is just like, oh, that sucked, like it didn't mean to react. It's like he's watching YouTube videos of people falling, but you're right in front of him.
Right.
He didn't mean to laugh, but it was kind of funny. And so
sometimes it just comes out. You just can't help it,
And so working on big feelings and handling them biblically has been such a gift. Because for me to like teach my daughters, like, I submit to your daddy.
Right.
If he says no, knows the answer.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that for me has been a challenge, where I want to that's the hill I have chosen.
Yeah.
And we're going to fight it out.
Sure.
And but to have his logic and his steadiness and helping me teach my daughters, like, I'm just a really reactive person, because guess what? I wear my heart on my sleeve, and so do you. They don't. It takes effort for them to tune in to the same emotions and understand, oh, I made a comment about your shirt that made you feel less than pretty or something, and
and that's I think one of the key elements to communication in a marriage, especially, is just like learning, because it's for the first couple of years of Bethany and I's marriage, it was almost like we're expecting each other to feel the same way as each other do, and think the same way. But then when you start, like through some counseling and stuff we've done, you start to realize, no, I need to understand her on the way she's understanding things, not the way I am, because we're different, right? And if I'm trying to approach her in the way that I want to be approached, that's not going to work, right? So it's so important.
Is it so much easier for you to understand her than it is for her to understand you? My curiosity is, like, when you guys are trying to understand something that's like not intuitive to yourself, like, is it easier for you to adapt to what she's trying to communicate than it is for her, vice versa?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes for sure.
Okay. I feel like with Sean and I, there's just the male brain. There's certain concepts that I don't know. I think communication is like the biggest issue in any relationship,
of course,
like
100%.
You have to have it or else.
Yes.
And so I told Sean and I, like, we almost didn't make it to year 10.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, like we have this very, very big like event in our lives that happened. There was, hurt on both sides of the fence.
Hmm.
And it was just right after baby 3, and we had 3 babies, 4 pregnancies, 3 babies in 5 years.
Mm.
And so here I am adjusting to new mom life, stay at home mom. Now I have 3 under 5 and a teenager, and him working crazy hours. And we just got to the spot in our lives where we were not communicating well. We were both just in like stuck in these really selfish like lenses, and we were
Hmm.
hurting each other. And one day he just was like, this is not working. And he
Yeah.
lived in a hotel for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And um or maybe it was, yeah, I mean, it was about like from the day he said, I don't think this is working, to the day that the Lord like smacked us both upside the head with a 2x4. It was about 2 weeks, and we didn't tell anybody. We had told nobody that we were going through something. He was staying in a hotel, and one night I was laying in bed, and he came through the door and was just like, I can't do this. You're my best friend. I don't know what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I'm back. We got to fix this. We
Right.
gotta fight. And he had Sean. I'm not Sean's first wife.
Hmm.
So hurt from female supportive relationships in his life has been very, very, very heavy hurt. Um, and so to then be hurt by the second wife, the one that's supposed to be the last wife, and thank God, that's a plan.
Right. Right.
but
Yeah.
but we get to this point and we're not telling anybody what's going on. I'm feeling so alone and isolated, but I wasn't, because I just spent so much time in my Bible, and I was journaling every day and just feeling all of my feelings on paper.
Hmm.
And I mean, we were still in communication. He took me out to like go on a job interview and everything. And then this night he comes back in and he's like, no, this is wrong. We got to fight. And
Hmm.
our oldest to have seen us go through that, he was 12, 13 years
Hmm.
old.
Hmm.
Um, and so maybe even a little bit older than that. He was 5 when his parents divorced, and he saw us on the edge of it and was like,
Right.
at first, understandably, it was, Kristen's terrible.
Right.
Can't wait to get out of this place, because what teenage boy really loves their stepmom that's like the
Right.
one with all the rules.
Right.
um but because he and I we were really tight when he was little, and so it was so hard to go through because he was seeing all of it. But then when we
Hmm.
came out on the other side, I remember a couple of years later just driving down the road with him. I want to say it was probably right about the time he graduated high school, and he was like, I'm really proud of you guys. Like, I know that wasn't easy, and I know a lot of people got into your business. Like, it got really messy, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
were able to fight through it and come back to something that we're like, man, I remember our friends telling us like the first 10 are the hardest. And we were like, okay, you know, man, but to make it out
Yeah.
and to be where we are now, like after going through a near dissolution of our marriage, it was just, our kids know about it. We've talked to them about it. This is the biggest thing, I think, in our house. Like when there's big waves, like there's always conversations, whether it's waves with death, or work, or whatever have you. Like the biggest topics, we talk about them all, because I read this book, um gosh, when I'm probably at the beginning of being a mom, so like 2010-ish.
Hmm.
And it was like, whatever the hard topics are, as a parenting book. And it was like talking about when you talk to your kids about the hard topics in life, the things that you are so convicted on, you need to be willing to talk to them early and often, age appropriately, because if they hear the truth, air quotes, right,
Hmm.
from a friend at school about ABC, you're going to have a really hard time convincing them that their friend lied to them
Right.
when you're trying to tell them the truth. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was like Sean and I went through we were rebellious kids. I already
Yeah.
told you that, right? Like
Yeah.
he was too. And
Okay.
like they know all of the things. They're like, we talk about, sex, you wait for sex till you're married and this and that. And they're like, do as we say and not as we do. Because when they figured out that dad was 19 when he had Tyler, they're like, but
Right.
wait, like
Right.
the Lord still works, works
Yeah.
things for good when you make mistakes, but that's not permission to go make mistakes.
Yeah. It's funny
you,
because
you to go
our oldest was two. She must have been 2. She's in our wedding photos. And I remember the age
I
that
love it.
she realized that. She's like, wait a minute.
Wait.
Wait a minute. Like, like is like
Yeah.
kind of clicking in there. Yeah. And that's when we had to
Uh-huh.
have that conversation. Be like, well, there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And
Hmm.
your mom and I weren't believers at the time. And we just, that's the way, the kind of lifestyle we lived at that
Yeah.
time. And, and my older daughter knows she wasn't planned. I mean, Bethany was 17 when she got pregnant with her. So it wasn't like,
Yeah.
and I was 19. So, I mean, we definitely weren't wanting to be parents at that time. And
Right.
actually, when we found out she was pregnant, we were on the verge of breaking up. And the
Oh,
only
wow.
reason we stayed together is because she got pregnant. We're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to try this parenting thing out and see how that goes. Because we were both very much pro-life, even though we weren't believers at the time, but we
Yeah.
were both very solidly pro-life. So we're like, well, that's not an option for us. So we're either going to try to make this relationship work and have this kid together, or we're going to co-parent, or we're going to do something. But killing the kid's not an option. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just kind of funny how that comes back, and you have to
And to be
explain these
able
things to
to,
your
so
kids.
how many years now? You said she's 27.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So it was 98 she was born. Yeah.
This is long-term marriages are are such a gift. They really,
Hmm.
really are. And it makes
Yeah.
me so sad to see, like, I don't know, just even, believing friends. I have a girlfriend that just went through a divorce
Mm,
that was totally necessary.
yeah.
Totally necessary. I mean, she waited and waited and waited and waited and waited for her husband to finally, make better choices. And he's such a good dad and was such a good husband. And
Hmm.
like Satan just took his heart. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
Yeah.
and that's devastating to me because I don't ever I don't ever want to get married again. Okay? I
Yeah.
don't ever want to get divorced and I don't ever
No.
want to get married again.
Yeah, me
But
neither.
when I see my friends go through it, like, and I see the impact on other children, and I'm blessed, to have parents that are married, but also you can also see like that not every couple that stays married, like I did not have a bad childhood at all.
Right.
Um, but that doesn't mean that just because people stay together that they make a good marriage.
Right. Well,
So
and I
I don't
think
know.
that's
It's just
part of the problem, and I think that's why there is so much divorce, because like we're taught, some of us are taught at an early age that like marriage is the solution. Like marriage,
yeah,
well, as soon as you get married, everything's going to be great and
everything's
happy
better.
and no problems, and you're not going to fight, you're not going to argue. You just got to find your soulmate and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. And then you get in the thick of it and you're like, wow, this is harder than being single. Right? Like this is tough. Like
Mm,
there's a
mm,
lot of
mm.
stuff that goes into this marriage thing where you have to learn to communicate with from my perspective, a female brain that's different than a male brain. It's like you got to understand those things, and
Yes.
you're living together and you're raising kids together, and it's like,
Well,
oh my
and
gosh.
I was 20 when I met Sean,
Hmm.
and he already had a 5-year-old.
Right.
I was so immature. I was so young, so naive. But man, I just needed his phone number. Okay.
Hmm.
I needed
Hmm.
his phone. I cut his hair. That's how I met Sean.
Nice. Nice.
And I needed his phone number because he did not ask me for it. But stepping into his world,
Yeah.
uh, he stepping into his world for, he had experienced so much more life
Hmm.
than I had when I met him. By the time I met him, he had lived on his own for 8 years, had a kid, had a full-time job, and I was 20 years old. I had gotten into doing hair. I still lived with my mom and dad. Um, we moved in together. We met in September of 2007. Sean told me, I don't ever want to get married again. I don't want any more kids. I have a 5-year-old son. You can't meet him until he asks to meet you. If you can handle all of that. Okay. The real story is that when he paid for his haircut, he did not ask me for my number, but he paid with a credit card.
Oh. You stalked him.
Yeah, but guess where? Guess where, Ryan?
Where?
MySpace.
Oh, no way. That's old school.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, he didn't have a face. I'm like searching for Sean Sutherlin. There's no result on Facebook because that was new to me. Like my little sister had a Facebook. I was 19. She was
Hmm.
a senior in high school and I was a freshman at Lansing Community College. And I remember being in the computer lab and her being like, Kristen, you need to create this Facebook account. So, right. So I have that. He's not on there, but I had MySpace since high school because I had
Right.
learned how to like code my own page. And there he was. Um,
So before we delve into more politics, because I know we kind of
mhm.
started there, but we're going to get a
Yeah.
little more into it. Just to kind of cap off the music part, I just want to ask, like, last two questions are, well, the first one is, what is there any kind of music or artist or anything that you can't stand? Like it comes on,
Oh,
you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm turning this off right now.
honestly, so it's really funny because I was telling Sean about your email last night and like
Hmm.
reading him what you said. And I was like,
Yeah.
I just don't really like once I realize I don't like it, I just don't learn it. Like I don't care
Okay.
to remember.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I will say like genres, always had a have harder time with like heavy metal,
Okay.
and things like that. However, so when I say that our tastes vary, okay,
Hmm.
I did eventually convince Sean to get on Spotify and share my account with me because we just use the free one.
Yeah.
And so like this is the kind of music my husband listens to. These were not genres or bands that I was like, yeah, let's listen to that. And because he is music has been a really, really big part of his life too.
Hmm.
And so in very different ways. So he's like Machine Head, like so he like Bush and Silverchair,
Yeah.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Um, I mean Metallica, White Zombie, like
Yeah.
some of the songs that we have a playlist called High School Days, and
Yeah.
that's where most of Sean's music
So
is.
is that
So
stuff that he likes but you don't, or is that stuff
it's
he's?
stuff that I there's some that I'm like still kind of trying, like Lightning Crashes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That song. So for our anniversary this year, we love baseball. Love
Okay.
baseball. My first Christmas with Sean, he bought me a book. It was like watching Baseball Smarter and I loved it. Okay. So the fact
Yeah.
that our son loves baseball so much, like it is our thing. So for our anniversary, our Sean's retirement goal is to like visit all the major league parks, but we're like, who has the money for that now?
Right.
So let's go visit like AAA ballparks and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we drove to Akron, Ohio for our
Wow.
anniversary, and we watched the Akron Rubber Ducks play baseball
That's so
for two
awesome.
days.
That's great.
And I mean, we got the gear for it because he was like, we don't do that. Okay. Like
Hmm.
we don't buy things just because like we've been to Disney once, but our kids were really it was when we were in California.
Okay.
But like I just spent your money on something smarter, right?
Right. Right.
So, but he got us matching t-shirts and then we each got hats. And our tickets, we landed ourselves of all the places in the middle of a group of season ticket holders that made
Oh,
our life
wow.
amazing while we were there. I had a crazy summer. I accidentally knocked out one of my front teeth.
Ooh.
Okay. It was
Bar
cute.
fight?
For
Bar fight?
six. No, I hit myself in the face. Okay. This is my bedroom. My bathroom is right over here. I got up in the middle of the night. I had to go to the bathroom. I came back and I'm like adjusting my pillow and my hand just like lost the grip and I bopped myself in the face and knocked out this tooth right
Oh,
here. For
no.
6 weeks,
Oh, boy.
one of my front teeth was missing. Do you know it was my anniversary? We attended 2 weddings and went on our
Of
anniversary trip
course
with
you
me missing
did.
a front
Of
tooth.
course. Timing. Timing is
It
impeccable.
was so good. And so anyway, yeah, we the whole trip though, it was his playlist. I was like,
Okay.
I want to hear your music. And so he talked to me about like, oh, this song and the time of his life and like what it meant to him. And there's some songs in this playlist that I'm like, I just don't understand them. If I don't have the lyrics, I'm not going to know what they're singing about. And hearing him sing and sitting in the car with him for hours on end,
Yeah.
listening to him, it just was like, wow, I've never listened to those lyrics before and
Yeah.
how powerful. Like, I mean,
Nice.
Lightning Crashes was probably the first song that we listened to on that trip where I was like, I have heard this song before, but I've never heard it.
Right.
And yes.
Right.
So,
That's awesome.
but
Nice
bands
job,
I won't
Sean.
listen
Way to
to
bring
is
her
I just
around,
don't
Sean.
know.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
That's awesome. So no, so there's nothing really that you can't stand anymore. So what you're saying is there used to be stuff, but
I
you
mean,
just
I
kind
just
of
if it's something I can't stand, it's probably just because I just don't know it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's
right.
just it doesn't stick to me.
Okay.
I mean, heavy metal is definitely something that I just I don't
It's just too heavy,
know.
too
Like
fast.
just if I can't understand them, that's really it. It's
Oh,
when the
okay.
music and the lyrics are so conflicting at the same like it's just when it's hard to understand and
Hmm.
but then you get somebody who knows the music and appreciates it and they're like, "But wait, you need like let
Right.
me teach you how to understand this song or how to and
Yeah,
maybe give you my understanding and see what
right.
you think."
It's
And
like you're missing something,
yeah,
the
yeah.
core element. Okay, and then the last thing is, are you able to give me like your top five all-time favorite singers, artists, bands?
Okay, so top five singers, I would say we discussed Need to Breathe,
Hmm.
Coldplay, JJ Heller.
Okay.
Do you know her?
I do. I mean,
Okay,
I know the name. I'm not real familiar with.
so JJ Heller's album, I Dream of You.
Okay.
I want to say 20, it had to be like 2015. I could probably figure out when the album was released, but I want to say it was released maybe between 2013 and 2015 because I remember being super pregnant with my baby and with my youngest and listening to this album with my other two every night when we would go to
Mm,
bed because
okay.
it's kind of a lullaby album and it is so anytime there was like a car ride, I would say it's probably been like within the last year, my kids haven't been like, oh, wow, will you play JJ Heller? But every time that we're in the car and it's like, all right, it's late. You guys need to be quiet. Just close your eyes until we get home. It's
Yeah.
will you play JJ Heller? And it's always this album. I had a really hard delivery with my youngest. We didn't think I was going to make it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was scary. And this album was playing in my delivery room.
Mm,
And so each of my kids kind of has a song.
okay.
So Ben Harper Forever is the song that I listened to all of the time with Wes. And it's really more of a love song for a couple, but it talks about like how forever doesn't always last.
Right.
And I want you to be my forever. And so that was my song with him. And but gosh, other ones. Okay, so Dixie Chicks,
Okay.
Cowboy Take Me Away.
Okay.
That is such a great song of like who I
Yeah.
wanted to be when I was a little girl.
Okay.
Um,
You're not allowed to call them the Dixie Chicks
I
anymore.
know I protest that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so some of my most impactful songs, I Want to Grow Old with You by Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
that's a good one.
that song was on our wedding CD.
Nice.
Um, Chris Stapleton, Simple Song. That
Okay.
has been a very the last few years for our family have had some really big challenges, some really heavy loss. My husband lost his mom about 4 years ago, four
Mm,
years ago next week,
yeah.
actually. And navigating the first of us to lose a parent and the situation like the relationship that was like what it looked like what their relationship looked like that so there's been we've battled some depression, we've been through some really wild wild rides in the last couple of years, and that song Sean and I were listening to it just a few weeks ago and he was like, man, it's so true, except we only have one dog because he says it's just the kids and the dog and
Oh,
you and
yeah.
me
Yeah.
and or the kids and the dogs and you and me, and he's like, we only have one, Kristen, and I was like, that's problematic. um Sean and I talk about like he has told me songs that he wants me because he's convinced he'll go before me. He's like, these are the songs I want you to play at my funeral.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like When in Rome, The Promise.
Mm,
I don't know if you know that's pretty old.
yeah.
um but and then so this is fun. In 2020, my brother Justin and his wife invited us to join them at a family camp. They have food allergies in their household. And when their oldest daughter was ready, like saying, I want to go to a summer camp, they were like, food allergies. So they found this summer camp that is a family camp and they cook your meals for you. and they
Mm.
accommodate food allergies. So if you have a gluten or dairy or whatever, like my husband's allergic to pineapple. And
Oh, wow.
so, yeah. So you would just let the cook know, and they would make sure they had like a separate like allergy free food line to go through. Anyway, so we go to this camp with them. It's a church camp.
Okay.
So we're there for a whole week. Our kids have counselors. They all have like camp counselor names. We have like a speaker. There's a speaker and a missionary for the whole week that you're there, and they alternate. You're going to all these sessions, and they have a band. All of the counselors are college age kids, and some of them have grown up in this camp and come back to be counselors. So we go, and it is the most amazing experience ever. We were able to go in COVID. It's a privately owned camp, and so they just had to shrink the size of their groups that were coming.
Right.
And they gave people half off because a lot of people canceled that summer. So we
Sure.
go, we join them. We fell in love with this place. Our kids were just like on fire. It was the whole this you step foot on this campus, and everybody is just on fire for the Lord. And you're like, I don't ever want to leave.
Yeah.
Well, some of their counselors that are full-time staff members have a band, and that band is called the Figs.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Figs?
No, like Fig Newtons?
Yeah.
Okay.
They
No, never heard of them.
recently this summer they they were doing some reels, and they were like how to write a song like Forrest Frank.
Oh, okay.
And they wrote the song
Oh,
Lemonade.
yes, I do
Yes.
know. Bethany was talking, she was following
Yes.
that whole thing when he was hurt in the hospital and
Yeah.
they covered it and then he talked about it and then they were going back and forth, right?
So yeah, so Micah and Bailey are their names, the Figs names.
Okay.
They are camp counselors at Gull Lake.
Oh, crazy.
And they're going on tour with Forrest Frank this
Yeah,
year. So my kids are like, we need to go see him.
that's
So
so cool.
Lemonade is like, so this summer, Lemonade became just our house was exploding with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But during baseball season, we had really got my kids got me into listening to Josiah Queen.
Okay, yeah,
And we were listening to, I mean, just repetitively every day that we were going to basketball, every time we're in the car,
hmm,
there's music on.
yeah,
And so Fishes and Loaves and Barabbas are
yep,
I Am Barabbas. Those are like
yeah,
two that I love what he's
yeah,
just the feel of his music, the kind of the folkiness of it. Love a
yeah,
good folky music.
yeah.
Um, but because of like just my kids getting me into that and then the whole Lemonade thing, I have really my husband is like he could take or leave Forrest Frank.
Sure.
Okay. He just is like,
Yeah,
meh, well, But if it makes you and the kids happy, it's just giving my kids and I this like feel good music that is just exciting and keeps our house positive.
yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's
That's
kind of
really cool.
me.
Yeah, my youngest daughter, who's now 17, she loves Josiah Queen, and she actually Bethany took her and some friends down to see him live, and that was a couple years ago, maybe no, maybe last year, and in April of this year, we're actually going. My cousin lives up in Washington State, and we're gonna go there because he got tickets because his daughter's all into Josiah Queen.
Oh,
So we're gonna
I
go
love it.
see him again. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I think "I Am Barabbas" was the first song I ever heard
Oh,
by him, and it was a good one. Yeah,
so good. I mean,
yeah.
my older daughter's bestie, um, they both just were really kind of finding him at the same time.
Hmm.
And we go to Winter Jam,
Oh yeah,
which is put on
Toby
by
Mac.
New Song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've done that. But other than that, like concerts, I don't think our kids have really done concerts. Like my son won tickets to a concert a couple of years ago because of the pocket radio. He was
Oh,
like,
okay.
Mom, their answer. I know the answer.
That's
Okay. So
awesome.
he got tickets and then he didn't get to go because my husband
Uh
was like, dude, I know this is not what you were hoping for, but I'm going to take your mom to that concert
oh, who was the band?
because of where it was at. Sam Hunt,
Oh,
he's a
okay.
country musician. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was Sam Hunt and it was at the Van Andel Arena, which is like, I mean, it was just everybody was drunk, so it was
yeah, yeah.
not, we were like, this is not a good first concert for
Right.
you to go to. And so he was like, he loves me so much that he was like, I gave my mom a date, like I gave
Nice,
my mom a
nice.
gift.
That's awesome.
Um, but I was talking with my daughter's friend's mom and I was like, I've never gone to a concert. Like with a girlfriend or like a bestie kind of situation. And I just think it would be kind of cool if we took our girls, like you and me, took our girls to go see Josiah Queen. So
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
talked about it, but haven't planned anything yet.
Is he playing anywhere near you guys or?
Um, I had looked, it's been a minute since I'd looked, but because of where we are, like Grand Rapids and Detroit, there's always concerts.
Right.
So, um, we've got some pretty consistent, I guess, flow of artists through our
Yeah.
area just because, and we're so close to like Chicago, and
Right.
not that Sean would be like, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to Chicago. We
Yeah.
like living rural. There's a reason that
Yeah.
we live where people drive behind tractors.
Isn't Detroit that way too, though? Isn't Detroit kind of scary to go to?
It's not like Chicago.
Okay.
It's, I mean, it's sure it's dangerous, but there's, I mean, the Detroit Tigers, the police presence down there, I would say it's a pretty patrolled area.
Mhm.
Significantly smaller than Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. From my experience, I've been to Chicago before. It's been, forever, but
Yeah.
I could confidently navigate Grand Rapids or Detroit. All my tattoos have been done in Grand Rapids. It's not a place that I love driving to because you're talking 3, 4, 5 lane highways.
Yeah.
And when I was a teenager, heck yeah, I had a lead foot. I could get around everybody. I'm so much more cautious as a
Yeah.
mother.
Right.
Even if I'm
Right.
by myself, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, for
just,
sure.
I want to make it home, and
Yeah.
people don't necessarily care whether or not I do. But,
Yeah. You want to arrive
um,
alive.
mm-hmm,
Very important.
yes.
So,
Like, when I gotta like call the orthodontist office because I'm like, hey, I left the house 15 minutes early, but it's, harvest season. Sorry, I'm stuck behind.
yeah.
I would much rather be that person
Right.
putzing along
Yeah.
behind the farmer.
Very cool. Okay, so I know we kind of we hit the vaccine thing pretty hard off the get-go, which is obviously
Yeah.
a big political topic, especially when it
Yeah.
already was, and then when COVID and all that stuff hit,
Yeah.
it became this big national
Mm.
thing where people were getting split apart,
I
and
think yeah, but also like it also kind of like opened a few more people's eyes,
oh for
to
sure,
like,
oh for
oh,
sure,
wait, I'm not doing so
yeah,
when you mentioned your friend, being on the news, I have a girlfriend that she lost her job because she refused to
wow,
vaccinate. And
they actually
but
fired her.
she was but I can't remember if she was terminated or if she chose to leave.
Okay,
It was, and she had been there she worked for the state.
oh wow, see,
And so it was a very, very emotional thing for her to go through because she had loved her job for so long. And
right,
but yeah, it
yeah.
it really opened people up to, I think, to conversation
Yeah,
more
it
so
totally,
than it had been
totally.
previously.
Yeah, and I was
But it
prepared to
also
quit
made the
too.
hotter side of the fire hotter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And me working at the library, which is a city, city run kind of thing,
Hmm.
government run thing, and there was a time where they were talking about that. No, you have to get vaccinated, and it's like I'm not doing it. I mean, if
Yeah.
I've been working there for, at that time, I think I've been working there for 14 or 15 years. I'm like, I'm just not doing it.
Well, and
But
I something that I'll never have an answer to. Well, maybe he'll tell me when I get there, hopefully, right? But like, how many questions do I get to ask? I got the flu shot when I was pregnant with him. And
okay,
I was not a person that regularly got the flu shot.
yeah,
My parents were like, I remember getting it in high school and things, but then they were all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're pregnant. Do you want the flu shot? I had the worst flu after that vaccination
isn't that weird?
ever. It
Yeah,
was so horrible. It was
yeah,
absolutely horrible. I mean, I ached for a good solid week, probably,
hmm,
if not longer. And so, that my decision could have also contributed to my son's outcome. But um what really made me grateful was, of all the things that happened after the provider that, overreached with me, I didn't, even though we loved our provider, I knew I would never be able to guarantee that we would be seeing specifically her. And so we decided to seek a family physician after that. And a girlfriend from our church at the time, she was like, hey, she's a nurse practitioner. And she was like, hey, I used to work in this one office, and knowing your story, I think that he would be a really good provider for you guys. And so
Mm-hmm.
we went and we did like a meet and greet with him. And he was the physician that eventually was like, I'm telling you, if we look at his symptoms and we look at all of the things, this is the defining moment for him.
Right.
And had I been, I don't know, maybe I just was, maybe becoming a parent like strengthens you in a way that you just don't expect to.
Yeah.
But or maybe it's just making this decision. He was a very like very hot topic. It was a very hot topic every time we went in. He would be like, here's a new study, here's this, here's that,
Right.
have you guys seen this? And to some people they would probably like, you know, they'd probably call a wellness check on his mental health have they been the one to walk in that office.
Sure.
And eventually that provider chose to stop practicing as an MD and go more naturopath, because he's
Oh,
like,
wow.
if I don't, he's like, essentially, he's like, you become a whistleblower
Right.
in these types of situations. And I still want to
Yeah.
care for people. And so um
Right.
he was the one that just really helped me decide what I wanted to stand up for. And so my son also has an ADD diagnosis on top of his speech and language impairment,
Mm-hmm.
which just compounds and makes learning a little bit harder. And we medicated him when he was little, for a few years, and with the right medicine for him. And then all of a sudden, a job change took our copay from $30 a month with this medicine that we could see our kids' personality shining through. We could see all of the things that were clicking that needed to. And then my husband changed jobs, and our copay went from 30 to 300. And so at that
Ooch.
point, we were like, we can't do that. So we tried a different
Wow.
medication and didn't. And it was like, okay, well, if this is what we can afford and it's helping him. But eventually they were like, oh, it's time to up the dosage. And because he was first on a medication called Vyvanse.
Okay.
And him being on that medication taught me the difference in standards for prescription meds, that when you have a brand name drug, the standards like have to be very, very duplicable. So you take it at this time every day, you get the same exact results every single day.
Right.
Off-brand drugs aren't necessarily held to the same standard. And so when we switched him to another medication, it was basically generic Adderall. Um, it got to the point he was taking like 5 milligrams, and then they're like, oh, well, we want him to take it a second time during the day. Now he's taking it in the morning and at school, and his personality faded. Everything kind of got a little less sparkly, and he was quieter. And he's
Mm-hmm.
always been a skinny kid, so they've always been like, oh, we got to make sure he stays weight. um and so we were just like, this is not worth it, we don't like it, we're pulling him off of the medication. And he has not been back on anything since then. We found a naturopathic supplement a few years ago called Brillia,
Okay.
that was, or like a homeopathic
Yeah.
tablet, they make it for
Yeah.
kids and adults. And he used that for, it was like fifth, sixth grade. And now that was at the very beginning of us homeschooling. And when we realized, like, okay, this is helping, but it's also not necessarily needed in our homeschooling situation, because it's a quieter, more controlled environment, and he's getting what he needs, and learning and having his own processes, that he's not overwhelmed for 8 hours a day.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, and that's the beauty of homeschooling anyway, is that you can
mhm.
cater to each kid because all kids are different.
Yeah. And this
You
year
know.
this year is the most different year that we've had so far, because um the first year, it was middle of the year, we did an online program. So it was through a charter school. They were home doing it, it was on computers, and it was okay. But for my son's IEP, the accommodations that they were giving him, like being able to have his tests read to him,
Mm-hmm.
or being able to type a paper but using speech to text, they were okay. But it was just conceptually some of the things that just take more time for him. And so this year, so then we traded it up for a few other things. We did a program called Gather Round Homeschool. That's an all-in-one curriculum. It's kind of, we did this one that was like a story format, and it was all about the national parks from North
Mm-hmm.
America. And it was a family going on a road trip, and it was twins and their parents. And so we learned about geography and history, and we learned about math and all of these things through this curriculum. and it was fun and the kids really enjoyed it. But then we ended up doing a different one last year, and this year, this is what I love, is that I just get to do what works best for us. And so we're
Right.
doing more of a Charlotte Mason style homeschooling this year, because
Okay.
everybody was kind of broken up with their curriculum last year at their own grade levels, and it was secluding one to the office on the computer, and she wasn't getting as much time with siblings and feeling a little alone because she didn't need as much help. So, so I was always there, but I was in the next room over kind of helping with my kiddos that are not as strong at reading. And so this year I was like, we're going to try something new. And it came down to like, I had all of their online, because the program we used last year is a free online program, that we can print a bunch of resources from, but still do their work on the computer.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to do it. We got to like, it's today's the day, we're starting school today. And I went, nope, I'm
Yeah.
not feeling confident about this. We're changing it up. And I just sat there for an entire week with my nose in my computer, putting out a whole brand new curriculum, which I have never done it like this before. But Sean was like, Kristen, use your chat GPT for this. Like
Oh,
you,
wow.
this is a great way to be able to, what I did was I had all these different resources, and it was like, take this from this thing and this from that and compile them and put together a day by day, 4 days a week schedule for us. And so I was able to like use it in a very smart way to
Yeah.
be able to, in 1 week's time, pull a curriculum together. And so it gave me my reading lists and our daily work and all of this. And so we're going through, and I've kind of gone back, and about 2 months into school, I was like, this one topic I'm not liking, we're going to replace it. We're going to do something different.
Yeah.
But we're using living books. And so it's something that's very like out of the box from what they've learned before. We're not using textbooks to learn. We're using actual, like this one is called Men of the Mississippi, and it follows a three-legged snapping turtle's journey in her life down the Mississippi River. And
Interesting.
it compares the river at one point to the Museum of Natural History because of all the things that are buried in the river. And you learn about the geography in this book, but it's told through story format. So they're getting American history and American geography through this book of a turtle.
Yeah.
And
Which might make it more interesting to them, right?
yeah, exactly. And then we do a book of centuries, which is every 2 pages in a notebook, you have a timeline and you add things that you're learning throughout your school year into your book of centuries. And it's meant to be a lifelong addition. So,
Yeah.
whether we're learning about like we're putting biblical events in there too. They're like, Mom, we need some more current events. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the 21st century is kind of blank. I'm like, put your birthdays in.
Right.
You
Right.
know? But
So, since you guys have been homeschooling for a while, did you guys notice when COVID hit and the mask mandates and vaccine mandates, did you have a lot of people that don't homeschool contacting you, asking you
we did
about it?
not start homeschooling till after COVID.
Oh, okay. So you were one of the people that was maybe contacting people
Yeah,
like us.
it's been three and a
Okay.
half years. So my sister-in-law homeschools. They have four girls, 19, 17, 15, and 10.
Okay.
And so they were my first resource. There were couples at our church that had homeschooled. Um, and there was one couple in particular at the church we used to attend that, oh gosh, I was on the worship team with the husband, and he was kind of like my church dad
Okay.
and just the sweetest guy. And their family owns a Christmas tree farm,
Oh,
and
awesome.
they homeschool their four kids. Just amazing. Our daughter did a homeschool performing arts summer camp, and one of their oldest son was in it, and it was just this little week long camp. And so we had her attend that, and they were like, you should like check out our co-op. There's some really cool stuff. And so we joined their co-op, and we ended up doing we haven't participated in an actual weekly co-op with them for the last two, like this year or last year. Just because we're 45 minutes away from our
Mm,
co-op. So we participate in, like, they have a week or a monthly game night that we go to, and we're still really connected with the community. Um, but just our life has been so busy the last couple of years that we haven't done them. But we did it was like an electives one. So it was our little kids were doing gym, art, and Bible study, and then our son was doing claymation, gym, and around the world. And the around the world was super cool because they were like learning about a different country every week and making food from that country to eat together.
That's
So it
awesome.
was
That's
like
probably the funnest
neat.
part, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was so good because it got me connected with, with other moms,
Hmm.
which was definitely necessary. But this year, our homeschooling has truly been about slowing down and staying in. Um, so it's been so good for us because especially we had a lot of births on the farm in the
Oh
last
yeah, nice.
year. Yeah. And so it's just our life here got quite full. And so
Yeah,
we were like, let's just stay here and tend to the things that matter the most to us. And so the kids miss co-op a little bit, but um there's time. There's time for that.
sure,
So
sure. So other than kind of the vaccine thing, I mean, because you
mhm,
said you lean mostly right,
mhm.
um, are there any other kind of topics within that you feel really passionately about, like within
I
conservatism
mean,
or?
so this is because of growing up in a very different household than the household that, that we've created for our family.
Mhm.
I mean, Sean and I remember who we voted for. Like in the first election that we voted together, it would have been probably 2008.
Okay,
I think 2008 was an election year.
so is that
And
Obama and? Okay,
uh-huh.
gotcha.
Yeah, and we were like, wow, we were really stupid. Like, what were we thinking? It's so funny. Like when you just look back at the presidencies and the things that happened in them and like having an opportunity to vote. I remember how big elections were in my household as a kid. I remember my parents and their friends, like the conversations. I remember them
Hmm.
watching the elections and thinking, I ever just remember who I thought I wanted to be and what I thought was right and what I thought was good.
Right.
And then getting married and meeting, and Sean was also, I mean, kind of left too when we first got together. And
Hmm.
he he did not own a firearm. He did not like he just, he just was kind of a basic
Yeah.
guy living in the world, kind of
Right.
growing up on your own. I think that if you don't have, no, I don't want to say that because I mean it's probably a lie. I was just gonna say, like, I don't feel like if you have parents that aren't open about talking politically, like
Yeah.
you're probably a lot more inclined to the left
Yeah.
because it's the common denominator, but
Yeah.
it's really not. And so it's my older brothers were very right. And my parents and I, like my sister and I, left. And
Okay.
so meeting, I think that's kind of where I think that's kind of where things started, is my husband meeting my oldest brother, my brother Aaron, um, taught my husband how to hunt. He was like, "You don't
Okay.
hunt? You grew up in
Yeah.
Michigan, you don't hunt?" Like,
Yeah.
well, technically he didn't grow up in I mean, he did, but he hadn't lived with his dad since he was a kid. So he was like 9 or 10 when he moved to Michigan with his mom. And
Hmm.
they moved around a lot. And it was just, he had a very different lifestyle. And so my brothers, like their dad had a big land. They deer management, it's hunting and it's pheasant hunting and deer hunting and all the things. And oh my gosh, I remember at probably like 10 or 11 years old, my mom making squirrel stew because my brother had shot a squirrel and finding
Nice.
hair in it.
Yeah.
Like, haven't
Yeah.
tried it again.
That's some Duck
Um,
Dynasty kind of stuff
yeah,
right there.
but getting Sean to go out into the woods and teaching him to hunt, like it was something that nobody had ever offered him before. And then he found guys, at our church and buddies that hunted. And so he really got into it. But his work schedule has always kind of um prohibited it. I'll tell you, last year, this is gonna go on a podcast. So it's just gonna
Yeah.
be out there. Like, you know what? To each their own. My husband, this window right here, this is where he shot his deer last year.
Okay.
Right
Nice.
out our
Nice.
bedroom window.
Awesome.
There's the farmer across the road is a beef farmer that does not eat venison, but doesn't
Okay.
want deer on his property. So they hunt and then give away their venison, but they own the field in our backyard. And so
Oh,
last year he was like, Sean, it's all yours. You see something? If it's brown, put it down, right?
nice,
And
nice.
so it's pretty great. We have really amazing neighbors. Like
Okay.
not everybody can say that, but we have very amazing neighbors. When we first moved in, we were like, oh, this could be interesting. The neighbors to the north, so even though we're very rural, like we're about just under 3 acres.
Okay.
And our neighbor to the south is about the same as us. Neighbor to our north is like 80. And they have very loud diesel trucks. They have a lot of dogs, like we're talking beagles and
Hmm.
hounds. Um, to the south, they were kind of quiet, kept to themselves. But she's like family now. Her husband passed away early 2020, and we've just kind of brought her into our little family. And our neighbors to our north, they are like, they're just they're the best.
Yeah.
They're fun. Um, our kids love them. They had the cat situations. So I told you they were like a cat drop off. They
Yeah.
had this one cat when we moved in, Peanut. He was 16 years old. He
Oh
he
my
just passed
gosh.
away in May. He was just passed away in May. He got hit by a car.
Oh,
And
oh
it was like,
wow.
I know, for him to be that old and
Yeah.
like in his territory, it was right at the corner.
Uh,
And he was technically our neighbor's cat, but he lived in our house
hmm.
sometimes. And so hence now we have the deaf garage cat because mom can't have a cat in the house, but the kids miss Peanut. So
Right, right.
yeah, that's
Okay.
that's where we went.
Wow.
But living out here very rurally, it's hunting season all the time, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So once Sean got into hunting, that kind of opened a whole new world for us. He and I ended up taking like a concealed carry class together
Okay.
years ago. Um,
So gun rights, kind of Second Amendment stuff is what kind
so
of
gun rights are
pushed
a
you guys
big
over.
thing for us.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Like just the climate that we're in is challenging, no matter what side of the fence you're on, but
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons that I'm so grateful to have my husband. He is like, I don't know, his brain is just way bigger than it looks, I think.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm like, he'll talk to me about things. I rely heavily on him so that I can be, I can very easily spiral into worry or even like the hype of something. And I rely on him to be my center.
Right.
That gravity that pulls me back in
Yeah.
when I'm out of bounds in my lane with something or like really buying into something that he's like, wait, Kristen, hang on, like let's talk about this. And so politics are a very big thing that I rely on him for because I'm like, don't have I don't have the capacity for who I am to sit and watch and listen to all of these things because it'll start to impact me and my
Oh,
environment
for
around me. And so
sure. Yeah.
having him to be able to be the one to share like this is what's happening in our world right now and
Yeah.
it's scary. I mean,
Hmm.
I'd be lying if I said we haven't had talks of becoming expats.
Right. Right.
And but really at the end of the day, we just our biggest goal is just to protect our family
Right. Right.
and to protect our rights to have our rights. And
Right.
so
So how do
politics
you,
are a trickier thing for me to like talk facts on,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
having him to be my source
Sure.
is something that
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to have because
So how do you respond to people that say every time there's when there's a school shooting or there's some mass shooting and they say this is why we need to get rid of all guns and there needs to be civilians should not be allowed to own guns and they have all these things they say like what's your response to that?
it's just stupid. I
Yeah.
mean, I understand it. I can have a compassionate heart
Hmm.
to say this is wrong. This should not have happened. But taking people's guns away is not going to solve the problem.
Right.
It's never going to.
Yeah.
And it's another reason to be grateful for the opportunity to homeschool.
Yeah.
The the
Yeah.
influences that were, you know, the influences that parents don't see inside of schools is is, I mean, obviously I went through it all, but there are so many things that I can look back and go, man, how would my life have been different had I not been subjected to
Yeah.
XYZ?
Right.
And I don't have any regrets over it because all of the things, like some of the really hard things in life, I had to experience in order to pour that wisdom into my children,
Mm.
And when we first pulled them to homeschool, it was a challenge for them, like saying, oh, socially, our peers, that kind of thing was hardest for my older daughter because she is my social butterfly.
Yeah.
um but the influences, she was in third grade. I will never forget this lyric. I don't know who sings it. I don't care. I don't know the name of the song. But I will never forget the day when our kids when they were in public school. They did 1 year at an actual public school when we moved temporarily. It was a great experience, but that was the last school they were in before we homeschooled them.
Okay.
Because when it was, because it was a temporary move, we were like, all right, we're coming back to where we belong, and it's time. This was the confirmation that we can do this. So
Right. Right.
before that, they were in a charter school, and we loved the charter school because it was one classroom per grade level, and it was basically the same 24 kids from kindergarten to 8th grade. Occasionally you'd have a few in and out. But in third grade at this charter school, where they say the Pledge of Allegiance every day and they sing a patriotic song every morning, and there's a lot of believers, my third grader comes home, gets into the truck, and Sean and I were driving, and she, from the back seat, we hear, "Hey, Mom, what's a stripper?" And we
Oh
were
boy.
like, "What? What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, my friends were singing a song. They said, somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper. What's a stripper?"
Oh no.
And I was like,
Terrible.
I just look at Sean, and we were like, okay, so third grader, here's the explanation. Well, it doesn't honor God, and it's not what
Yeah.
the Bible says is right, but there are some people who will take off their clothes for a living to earn money.
Right.
And
Wow, you were
just
just
the
straight with them, huh?
shock, just the shock. I mean, like, it's, you got to, you gotta just tell
Yeah.
them the truth. I mean, oh, because I mean, we learned so many lessons raising our first,
Yeah.
and because he was in two different households with two different viewpoints and two different sets of rules and things, some things we agreed on, other things we didn't.
Yeah.
It was so important to be honest early and just say, like, it's not okay, but they just don't know, any better. And that's not their fault, because somebody just hasn't helped them to see
Yeah.
that there are better
Well, that's
ways.
a good teaching opportunity, right? That's kind of put before you in that moment. It's not like you'd ever show your kids that song, but
Right,
since they heard
exactly.
it, you had a good opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because, on the topic of music being such a powerful thing and such a prominent thing in our lives, I will say this, we don't restrict our kids from everything.
Hmm.
So there's,
Hmm.
I mean, country music, we all know it's about drinking your dog or losing your woman. And
Right.
so,
Right. Right. Yeah.
my son loves country music, and there's songs where I'm like, okay, I know he's one of your favorite artists, but let's really listen to those lyrics and just understand you're a kid. you know
Yeah. Yeah.
so there's certain songs where I'm like, nope, we're not listening to that one at all. I've seen, yeah, I have a family member who, I heard their child singing a song once that I was like, at 5, singing Long Haired Son of a Sinner, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
please,
That's funny.
please protect. So,
Yeah.
but then you also like get into movies, and you like, when you're like, oh gosh, this was such a great movie when we were a kid, and you watch it with your kids and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
parents let me watch that.
Right.
Like, oh,
Right.
we're so sorry, guys. Like,
Yeah. It's
that
like
was,
you forget what was in it.
oh, I'm trying to remember Vegas Vacation. We
Oh
watched,
yeah.
oh, my husband a couple years ago, he was like, we should watch that. And we were like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Like, National Lampoon's is but you think about it, like when we were watching those, we didn't have the eyes or the heart that we have today.
Right.
And so that
Right.
makes you go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, because that was considered mild, even though it's not
A
stuff we
hundred
want our
percent.
kids seeing, but it's not like it's a Tarantino movie or something,
Mm,
you know what I mean? Like
yes.
with all kind of stuff in there.
Yeah. Hey guys,
Um,
let's watch Kill Bill.
yeah,
Who's
right.
down? Who's down?
Exactly. Have you guys heard of pluggedin.com or anything like that?
No, what is this?
So Plugged In, I think it was started by Focus on the Family, which was, James Dobson's
Uh-huh.
ministry. But it's a website you can go to. It's got books, video games, movies, and TV shows, and it basically
Okay.
it gives you
Ratings.
a content review. Like
So
it's
we
very
use
specific. It'll tell you, what's in it. So,
so we use Common Sense Media.
yep, I'm familiar with that one too. Yep.
Okay, so Common Sense is usually the one that I go to.
Yeah.
Um
The difference is that one's not Christian. So they don't really show you stuff
hmm.
like Plugged In will tell you things like, oh, there's this kind of a anti-God stance in this movie, or there's it's very specific to that kind of thing. Common Sense is good too because I'll use Common
Okay,
Sense for
so
books a
I
lot because
feel
they don't
like
have it. But
that's good to know. I'm gonna have to I gotta take a note on that
mhm.
because I haven't used it for very long, but it's because we've been so like eyes on everything. Our kids are older, more mature now, and we use more just like you guys can use your discretion.
Yeah,
But if it's something that you're wanting to watch that you've never seen before,
right,
that's when we're like, if it's a show that you're familiar with, we're okay with it. Our kids are only allowed certain content creators too. Like
right.
um we had the girls have tablets. They used to all have tablets, but one of them got left out in the rain by accident. So
Uh-oh.
that was a learning lesson. But brother turned 15 this year and got his first cell phone,
Okay.
which is a flip phone because that's how we roll in this house. You don't need more than that. Um, Obviously, like them having tablets, we use Google's Family Link
Okay.
for restricting and monitoring content. So that is one of the things like political issues. Like, what in the heck are they trying to put into our kids' content? You know what I mean? I
Right.
just
Right.
when my kids are so good about saying, "Oh, mom, we there was this show and all of a sudden we realized that these two were kind of a thing for each other and that's not something that we feel
Mm,
the need to watch."
right.
Um and I love that for them because I mean, homophobia is a very big label put on Christians, right?
Hmm.
However, I want my children I want my children to understand that people are going to think that about them just because they love Jesus, that they must
Right.
be homophobic.
Right.
However, we have like my mom's sister is a lesbian and has
Mm,
been with her partner since as long as I think I've been alive.
okay.
Um, and so and my sister's best friend from high school is gay and my children have had interactions and they know that
Hmm.
he is married to a man
Right.
and we love them. They're such great guys and
Yeah.
Jesus loves them. We just don't agree with the
Yes.
lifestyle.
Right.
And so my that is something that's really important for me to like instill in my children because
Yeah.
hate is
Right.
everywhere
Right.
and it's so contagious
Yeah.
and we want our children to understand that just because something is different than what we believe doesn't mean it has to be scary.
Right.
um that
Well,
that
that's why I don't like the term homophobia
agreed.
because it implies that you're scared of it.
Right, exactly, and there's nothing to be scared about and
Right.
I just
Right.
it is the heart of the issue. It's I don't know. That one's really hard for me because I just love people
Mm,
so big
right.
and I know that my children do and the labels that get put on Christians
Yeah.
are
Right.
hard to navigate.
Right.
Um
Well, it's the idea that if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, it means that you don't love them. And I
Agreed.
think
Yeah.
that's a totally wrong perception to have. But
Mhm.
you're right. A lot of people view Christians in that exact way,
Mm,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know, it's just the the content infiltration today is heartbreaking to me.
Hmm.
Um, widespread, because you think about like the community that, like what the community looked like when we were growing up versus today,
Right.
and how they were going to make it what it is today.
Right.
But
Right. Which a lot of people would deny that there's any kind of agenda there, or there's any kind
mhm.
of, it's just like, well, no. I had somebody tell me, I've had lots of people tell me actually that there's not more LGBT people today than there was 30 years
Right.
ago. It's just that now they're more accepted and open, and that's why you notice so many of them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that, especially when you look at like the trans community and you see that, a big portion of the trans community is like girls from age like, was it 15 to 23 or something. I'm
Mm.
like, that doesn't, I mean, that's kind of strange, right? When you realize that that's the biggest demographic that's growing in that area. I don't know, there's something to that, if you ask me. That seems like an influence coming from somewhere. But but of course,
Yeah.
I'm a hateful
Yeah.
bigot when I say stuff like that. So
Yeah. I watched several years ago. I stumbled across a video of this guy's testimony who was detransitioning,
okay.
and he shared his story about like how he had been a prostitute, and like as a female he was a prostitute, and the experience that he went through, and how for some reason like he was having this spiritual curiosity, and started watching like televangelism, and it was leading him to actually open a Bible, and how like he shared this really incredible testimony of like hearing the Lord's voice, and hearing like how much the Lord loved him, and he walked through like all of the lies that he believed, that led him to choose to
Right.
go through a transitioning surgery,
Yes.
and just how God pulled him out of it. And um it was
Yeah.
just so profound. And there was a youth at our church at the time that was kind of having some questions, and our youth leaders were this very sweet young couple in their early 20s. And when I saw that video, I sent it to her, and I was
Mhm.
just like, you know
Yeah.
it's amazing, like God breaks through
Right.
in the wildest of ways.
Right.
And
Right.
it's I would not want to be a teen or a young adult
Oh my
in the
gosh.
days
Yeah, no
that
way.
my kids are going to be like,
Yeah.
from dating to politics to religion to just, oh, my heart breaks over the idea that someday they're gonna be here without me.
Right.
And
Right.
I have full faith and confidence that God has got them,
Yeah.
but also like I
Yeah.
want to be there for that.
Sure.
And
Well, you just got to build the strong foundation before you leave Earth, and then
yeah.
hopefully they'll carry that on to their kids, and it'll keep going, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Hmm.
that's the hope anyway, right? But,
Yeah,
um,
all of our kids have made the decision to be baptized, which
oh
was
wow,
really, really incredible to witness.
yeah,
Sean and I got baptized in 2010. I was
to,
pregnant with Weston, so he's
oh
like,
wow,
"I've been baptized twice."
he's got a special place in heaven now
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
that, right?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's funny.
Uh,
Were you guys baptized together at the same time?
Sean, Tyler, and I were all baptized together. Um,
That's cool.
at the first church that we started going to together, it was a couple that Sean worked with the husband and had gone to high school with both of them. And they kept saying, "Hey, you guys should come to our church." And, I think you'd really like it. There's lots of young couples, good program for Tyler. Sean has a lot of abuse and hurt in
Mm,
his past.
yeah.
And so he was like, "You can go have fun." Um,
Mm.
and it just so happened the wife, she had cystic fibrosis,
Oh
and
wow.
her husband was out of town. And so she only did local driving, and church was about a half an hour away from her home. And so she was like, "Hey, he's out of town this weekend with the firefighters. Will you go to church with me? If I come to your house and pick you up, will you drive me to church?" And I was like,
Oh wow.
"Absolutely." So
Nice.
I
Nice.
went with her, and my first time in that, it was like an altar call, which I had never experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a church, different from like a youth event. when I was younger, but it was my first time being in a church where there was this just like very spiritual altar call. There was a message in tongues, which was like I had never heard that before.
Right.
It was a very it was an Assemblies of God church.
Okay. Okay.
And so very Pentecostal. And it was a wild experience for me, but it was like I had this incredible encounter with God that was unlike anything I had ever had before. So I go home and I'm just like, I just spill it all out to Sean. And I'm like, you got to go back with me next week. And
Yeah.
he was like, I'll go, but I'm not taking Tyler. I'm going first. Like, we'll make sure he's back to his mom. And
Okay.
so, we went and we were there for a few years, actually. 4 years, just about 4 years we were there until we decided to find a church that was closer to home. Um, but Sean and I both like recommitted our life. Like I recommitted my life to Christ, and
Okay.
he accepted Jesus at that church. And then so we started going to church there together right after we got married. So 2009. And then in 2010, it was that summer, they would have a
Okay.
water baptism at the local park, and the three of us did that
Wow.
together. So Sean's
Okay.
brother, his older brother actually drove up from Indiana to go to church with us and to be there for that. So that was
That's
really
really
cool.
cool. Okay. Well, let's use that to start jumping into some spiritual stuff here then.
Yeah,
So so Sean was not a believer when you guys met then.
correct.
Okay.
He had grown up in churches,
Okay.
but wouldn't have considered himself a believer.
Okay.
Had kind of been through Methodist church when his parents were married. Then when he moved to Michigan, his mom moved around a little bit, ended up marrying his stepdad, who was Hispanic. And so he then shifted to Hispanic Catholic Church.
Okay.
For a while, they had bounced into like a Nazarene church at one point. Um,
So he
and
grew up in
then
church, but not really believing it per se.
yeah, but I would say like very similar to my growing up in church. You might
Okay.
like my family, we grew up going every Sunday. Okay.
Right.
So every Sunday was church. I can't necessarily say that for him. It was more like seasonally maybe, and
Yeah.
where his mom was at in life, or maybe who she was with.
Yeah.
Sean primarily lived with his mom after his parents divorced, but uh she moved to California when he was 16,
Oh,
and he did
wow.
not want to go.
Okay.
So he was done moving around and chose to stay here. And
Okay.
he'll tell everybody like his stepdad, Rudy, is the only man she married. She's had a third husband before she passed away. Um, but his stepdad will always be his stepdad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually doesn't lives not far from us, lives in the town over.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
great, great stepdad. But so he was like, hey, you can stay here because the the game plan was that his mom was going to go to California. She was pursuing a career in acting, and
Hmm.
her husband was like, I'll give you a year. Go have fun,
Yeah.
figure it out, and then come back.
Yeah.
And so she never came back. They ended up divorced, but his stepdad was like, you can stay here, but you got to follow the rules.
Yeah.
You got to stop doing the drugs, and you got to stop drinking. And
Yeah.
he was like, no, thanks. I'll just find somewhere else to be. And so,
Right.
again, there was a lot of, there was a lot of abuse in his life growing up. And
Mm.
so
Mm.
for him at 16, he was like, I'm not following you anymore. I'm going to stay here. And, yeah, so he didn't really have much of a solid family life.
Yeah.
And so without that, there was not really a reason for
Yeah.
church or faith.
Yeah.
Then he got married at 19, and they attended church. So my husband knew Jesus before he was a believer in the most profound way, because when he was 19, he got hired at Discount Tire, and we call to this day his manager that hired him Work Dad.
Mm.
And Work Dad, like our older daughter was in Work Dad's daughter's wedding, like she was a
Oh,
flower
wow.
girl, like
Yeah.
his kids are all grown-ups now, and our kids are little, and now his kids are having babies, and that is Work Dad. And Work Dad was like, Sean at 19 had not graduated high school and had two DUIs. And so he was, making choices that weren't necessarily putting him in the right path, but he had just had a baby. So he had a baby in July, got married in August, and got hired at Discount Tire in September.
Yeah.
And this was 2002. And so he was, just out of high school, but hadn't graduated. And work dad was like, Jesus was skin on all day, just loving on him, pouring into him, seeing in him things that other people had like never called out, and was like, "You're worth more than this." And he was the one who was like, "You don't even have a diploma. Like, come on, I'll pay
Yeah.
for your GED classes if you will go get your GED." And Sean was like, "Let me just try to take the test. Don't waste your money."
Right.
And he had just not, he was just a kid that didn't apply himself in school, and so he got his GED and met Jesus through Steve and
Okay.
started attending church with him occasionally.
But were you guys already dating
And
at that
when
time
his
or no?
nope, he was married to his first
Oh,
wife.
okay. Okay.
And they went through some really, really, what ended their marriage, and
Mm.
had been attending church at the same time. And so Sean is like, clearly God does not care about me, because
Right.
I grew up in the church. I have, tried counseling with my marriage, and I've gone to church for this and that. And God does
Yeah.
not care about me.
Yeah, that burnt him even farther.
And yeah. And so then when it was, the new wife saying, "Well, go to church with me." And it's so funny to me that the spiritual life that I have now is not even like, wasn't even an idea when I wanted to go to church in 2009. I didn't know
Right.
what I was missing. I just knew I was supposed to go to church. And so for him to walk in there with me and then become not just my husband, but the spiritual head of my household, like like I said, our marriage would not have made it.
Right. Right.
Out of 10, like we would not have made it to 10 years had it not been, I want to say, yeah, we didn't almost, it was almost 8 years. It was 8 that we didn't almost make it through. And so,
Yeah.
and it was all God. And it was other marriages before us pouring into us
Mm-hmm.
that kind of equipped us for that, and then has now turned around and allowed us, you know as not we're still young, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've been together for like, as a young married couple, or even as a couple that has been married for as long as we have, like to be able to pour into the marriages of other young couples
Yeah.
and say like, I had a very pivotal moment in my life in 2018
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing hair in a salon. I had gone back to doing hair for a little bit. I want to say it was right about 2018. Um, and my coworker, her marriage was just going through some really, really tough stuff. And she was not a Christian. She did not go to church. She, maybe you could say believe, but didn't practice, like acknowledged, let's say she acknowledged the existence of God, but wasn't a Christian. And in the salon world, drama is king, or you could say queen, right?
Right.
I had to make a decision at that point. Now, this was a small salon. It was just me and 2 other girls. And we all got along really well. I had been in some very tumultuous, chaotic salons. And
Yeah.
so this was a very good one. This one was safe. I even worked in a Christian owned and operated salon at one point that played all Christian music. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
That, but, I had dreams of being in a bigger salon. And so I ended up moving, but I ended up just, I couldn't sit in that salon and listen to her. I could listen. I could listen to her talk about all the hard and the bad and the damage that was being done, but I couldn't sit there and not be like, okay, but listen, why did you guys get married?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and to be that kind of friend. Now they reckon I saw her. We had kind of a just life took us in different directions and hadn't talked to each other in many years. And I saw her this summer at a birthday party, and she's not with her husband anymore. But it was just like, I felt so, you don't want to say that you feel proud of yourself, but
Right.
that was
Right.
a moment when I went against the grain in an uncommon environment and was like, but wait, like, please, like, if there's any ounce of you that feels compelled to fight for this, like just digging back into why, because at that point, Sean and I had already been through it. And so I'm like, but no, wait, you don't have to do that. You don't have to get a divorce. And, but so yeah, just
Yeah.
being able to be that kind of person in my faith and to be that kind of woman and wife
Yeah.
and to talk to other women and say, you know what, like when
Yeah.
I there's topics that Sean and I are willing to talk about with other married couples if the subject is broached,
Hmm.
that we I have an uncommon opinion. And that would be like the bedroom. Okay. Like I have a very uncommon opinion, I think, against many women and what it means to be committed to your husband.
Right.
And so being able to talk about the kinds of things like sex
Right.
and intimacy and actually learning to love each other and learning to not fall out of learning to not fall out of love with each other,
Right.
because that's so easy for people,
Yeah.
and having our faith in the middle of it, you know, truly at the center of it is the most important thing. Like I'd rather live in a house where there's like a 90s sitcom, because you know it's the oohs and the ahs from the
Yeah.
kids in the
Yeah.
gallery. Like we have a countdown in this house when I'm just like, all right, you know what, you are just dilly-dallying in here and I'm
Yeah.
gonna kiss your dad in 5, 4. And it's not just a peck on, I'm gonna embarrass them if
Right.
they're gonna be in this room, you know, they know.
Yeah.
I oh So like there will never be confusion on whether or not their mom and dad love each other.
Right.
I can tell you that. They've seen the hard fights, you know, where
Yeah.
we're like, we're not proud of what we just did in front of you guys, but
Sure.
we're going to talk about it because we're going to address the elephant in the room because that's important.
Right.
Um but yeah, being able to share
Yeah.
from our story and our testimony with
Hmm.
other couples, um
Yeah.
good golly. I mean, to truly be it is so easy for women and men to be apples and oranges and to not want to see each other's viewpoints on certain topics. And you know, I mean, Sean and I lived together before we got married,
Okay.
and I just heard this girl recently, this other homesteader that I follow because she's fun, talking about how they didn't live together before they got married, and she's like, whatever you choose, totally fine, up to you, but here's why I'm going to say, whether from a biblical or non-biblical standpoint, you shouldn't live together, why I think people shouldn't live together before they get married. And she was talking about how if you live together before you're married, like how the reasons that people give for why they live together before they get married, but why she and her husband chose not to. And she
Right.
was like, I think the best part about it for us was like, before we got married, had we been living together, we would have gone to our wedding, gone on our honeymoon, come back and just resume normal life. Like
Right.
if we lived together, which, you know, we did. And I was like, man, that is such a good viewpoint. And for me to be able to like pour this into my kids of like, you get to experience all the new together for the first time and let it be exciting and fun and new, and not like if you truly have to live with someone to figure out whether or not you can get along with them
Right.
before you get married, then maybe you should date a little longer or
Right.
or
Yeah.
not be
Yeah.
dating. Like,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So you mentioned
but
earlier that since you grew up in the church kind of, but you said it was around junior
mhm,
high that you kind of had your own coming of age with the Lord kind of a
yeah,
deal. So
yeah.
what brought you to that place? Like what caused you to go that route?
Lake Ann Baptist Church Camp was
Okay.
this tiny little church camp up north Michigan. Um, my brother and his wife were leading their youth group at the church that they. So this is the fun part. Uh, so my brothers are Aaron and Justin. Justin and Mary are they are my he is my sibling, but I affectionately refer to them as like my spiritual parents,
Okay.
because I know that they have been fervently praying for me for
Hmm.
decades.
Right. Right.
um, so they were leading the youth group at the church that they met at. And I think I've asked my brother before, and I don't know how he ended up in the church because my brothers didn't grow up in church. I did,
Right.
but they didn't. Like
Right.
my mom and their dad never did church together. And so they had invited my sister and I to attend their youth group, and we would go with them sometimes. And one year my sister-in-law was going to be a camp counselor. And so my parents signed my sister and I up to go. And she happened to be my counselor for that week. And it was it was just this like wilderness camp, lots of outdoor stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
you had these little cabins you stayed in. And I will never forget it. She and I, we were in like the commons area where they had all like the outdoor like games and stuff. Um, and they had trees with the benches built all the way around them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were these big, probably like oak trees or maple trees. I just remember how big and lush they were because like these are the kind of moments that you're like, I can go back there visually in my memory because it was such an impactful moment. She and I were sitting on one of the benches around the trees and she was talking to me about my faith. And she was like, Kristen, have you ever asked Jesus to forgive you of your sins? And like, have you asked him to save you? Essentially. And I was like, no. And so she prayed with me and Ryan. It was like in a cartoon where like if the trees were flexible, it was like they bent and they widened open and like the rays of the sun came down. It was just warm and beautiful and peaceful. And it was like Holy Spirit was right there with me. And
Wow.
it was just something that I'll never forget. And
Yeah. That's awesome.
it, but you know, the thing about it is the seed was planted but it just wasn't being watered and fertilized
Right.
well.
Right.
Partially, I think it was the environment that I was in. Like, you just grew up in this tiny little church where you're singing out of these hymnals and you're bored and you're falling asleep. And I mean, like, I had some
Yeah.
really wonderful pastors in my childhood through my childhood eyes. But then I look back and I'm like, I've learned things that I'm like, wow, okay, those were my shepherds. And
Right.
some of them I'm very, very grateful for. And some of them I don't necessarily, I can't say like how that they impacted me. Um,
Yeah.
but getting into a church that encouraged me to open my Bible and getting into small groups, honestly, was one of
Yeah.
the biggest things to perpetuate my or propel my faith
Right.
forward was just having people that were relatable and could talk to you. I don't know, I guess just in plainer English about
Yeah.
what the Bible meant, and learning to read a translation other than the NIV was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that there
Right.
I
Right.
didn't know that there were other versions of the Bible as a
Yeah.
kid.
I have a
um
friend who calls that one the nearly inspired version.
so for school, this is hard for me, okay?
Yeah.
Because so what's your version of choice?
I got to a point, I know we haven't really talked much about you and I have never talked about this stuff
Yeah,
before
yeah,
because when we used to talk before, it was on a totally different plane.
yeah, it was
But like I got to the
stupid.
point where, yeah, well, I got to the point of like so many different English translations, so many different interpretations, so many
Mhm.
different this, and I got to the point where I was like, okay, how do I get to the bare bones of it? And I actually went and I learned biblical Greek, and I was trying to figure out because I wanted to go to that, like the actual biblical Greek
Uh-huh.
text, so I could be
Yeah.
like, okay, what's really being said here?
Yeah.
So, but even since I started doing that, people say, "Oh, Ryan, what's your favorite English translation?" I don't really have one. I mean, like the NIV has spots where I think, that's not really representing the Greek. The King James is the same way. You just got to kind of certain parts of each one is way good, but none of them are like, "Oh, this is so far off. This is just the worst thing." I mean, they're
Mm.
all because these people are really trying to accurately translate.
So,
So,
so maybe a better way to pose the question would be, do you have a version that you lean into most when you're
when I'm just
gonna
studying,
just read a paper Bible?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the ESV a lot. I have one that's a Young's literal translation. I like that one a lot. But I'll read King James and NIV as well because those are probably
Hmm.
I mean the new King
Yeah.
James, of course. I don't mess with the old King James with the
Yeah.
all the thous and thith and theth and all that stuff. But yeah, so I'll
Yeah.
read any of those. But
Oh,
yeah,
my paper Bible, I have many paper Bibles, but my main paper Bible is my New Living Translation.
oh okay,
Um, however, and I don't, I think it was just one of the versions that was introduced to me, as an adult that I felt very comfortable reading. However, ESV is definitely like pulled up on my phone often.
Okay.
But the thing that I am, because I have my son, my 15-year-old, he can read great. Comprehension especially is like maybe a little bit more challenging topically.
Hmm.
But my 10-year-old is still like she's still working on her proficiency, we'll say.
Okay.
And so for school, we have a New and Old Testament reading every day. Right now, we've been reading through First Samuel, and then Matthew and Luke, I think, are the two that we've been alternating in our New Testament. And for that, we use the New International Readers Version.
Okay.
So it's like the NIV for kids. So
Right.
it's meant to be at an elementary fluency, like word comprehension. And so,
Right.
but then there's times like we do our copy work, and I'm like, I'm just gonna let you do that. But I like the way my version. I like, you know, or when like I love the being able to just flip back and forth between versions too when we're learning, and because teaching my kids to read their Bible, like nobody taught me
Right.
to read my Bible. I had one and I was gifted one when I went through like my confirmation class and things like that. But yeah, nobody ever taught me how to study my Bible. so
Right.
um so having
Right.
all these different
Right.
versions is great, I think, because I like being able to rephrase something,
Right.
and to be
Right.
able to rephrase it and like for them to hear it biblically without me necessarily needing to put my
Right.
spin on it.
Yeah, and there's a time and a place for that.
So,
Obviously, you don't want your
mhm.
kids not getting the message because the literacy of the text is too
Exactly.
intense, so it's obviously has to be
Yeah.
on their level. But I know when we were raising our kids and teaching them that stuff, it was always, I also didn't want to sacrifice the true actual meaning of what the text was saying either. And some of the kids' translations were like, what the heck? That's not even what it's saying. Like, that's not even
Mhm.
close.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
so that's a problem. But so for you, so when you had that experience in junior high at the camp, and
Mhm.
so you had that experience, but then you talked about also when Sean got saved, you talked about like a recommitting or a rededicating your life to the Lord. So what
Yeah.
was that? So do you
Yeah.
think you believe you
Well,
were
I just know
saved
that I
up to that
wasn't
point?
living. Yeah,
Okay.
but I was a reckless teenager,
Okay.
I mean, I made decisions that I had no business making. Like, again, this is the topic. So, like, we talk about the hot topic, the issues, and
Right.
like sex before marriage. Like, I lost my virginity as a teenager, and that
Oh,
was
okay.
something that I wasn't proud of it,
Sure.
Um, I and
Like
the
later on in life you weren't proud of it, or at the time you weren't proud of it?
Oh, later on,
Okay.
most definitely,
Probably at the time you
because
were like, who cares, right? Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Um, I was 16
Okay.
and I just had no business being with, the boy that I was with.
Hmm. Yeah.
um, and that led me, so because I mean, my parents were always like, wait to have sex till you're married and this and that. And then I also was not a planned baby. Okay. My parents
Right.
got married in May. I was born in January.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I was a late baby. So clearly my birthday was supposed to be Christmas Eve. I held out for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
um
But growing up, did you still have to do a Christmas and a birthday party, or did you have to combine them?
most of the time it was like
Yeah,
it
see.
wasn't the okay, I got to have birthday parties. So I will give my parents that, but I got like the birthday Christmas gifts,
Okay.
which I refuse to do to my son because his birthday is December 5th. Okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
I won't do it to him. I won't.
Right.
Um,
Because you
but
understand.
I do 100%. Like this year, Sean and I did not do Christmas gifts for each other.
Okay.
And that's hard because I'm sure that we have friends that have stopped being our friends because they're annoyed by how much we love each other. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, right.
Kristen and Sean can never like keep their hands off of each other.
Yeah,
We don't like doing things without each other. We don't like traveling with each other, like staying
yeah.
apart. Like, it's just not who we are. Part of it was like early on, it was our hurts. It was all of the the betrayals and the mistrusts that
Mm-hmm.
made us not want to let the other go. But then we learned how to do that. And we
Right.
were like, it's just not cool. Like I've gone on a trip before without him and just been like, I'm so lonely. Like there's I know he is my person. And
Yeah.
oh God, I just pray that for my kids.
Right.
I pray that my children find someone to fall in love with that is so completely obsessed with them the way that Sean and I are with each other.
Right.
It's sometimes obnoxious.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But
To others.
because we are that to others,
Right.
yeah.
Not to you guys.
And I'm not saying that people have to be like so physically attracted to each other like all of the time, but or like uh, you know public displays of affection, because not everybody is that way. And I know my brother and his wife are very um mild personalities on the outward.
Yeah.
I have no question about how madly in love they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
um
People express
so
it differently.
yes.
Yeah.
But we are a kissy, smoochy, huggy, all of the
Yeah.
things in this house.
Does that gross
And
your kids out? Do they get all
no,
like, oh,
no. Oh my gosh. My
yeah.
son, my 15-year-old will still kiss me.
Oh, wow.
I told him this year, I was like, buddy, because we every night. So his basement, that's pretty much what it is. His bedroom is in the basement. We finished our basement for his 10th. We remodeled one of the rooms in our basement and made him a bedroom.
Yeah.
And so it's his domain because the girls had shared a room forever. Well,
Okay.
when he took the basement, the girls got to have their own rooms. And so every night their bathroom is upstairs. Everybody brushes their teeth. We sit in the hallway. We pray together. We say our good nights. I tuck in the girls. He doesn't need to be tucked in anymore.
Right.
The girls
Right.
love it.
Yeah.
There's nights when I'm like, okay, here's your blanket. I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm tired. I have been overstimulated to the max today. But
Right.
but it's this summer, I was like, hey, like if you ever get to the point, it was because one of my girls got a smooch from a grandparent on the lips, and she was, and
Ooh.
it's just so normal. It's normal in our house. Like it's just
Yeah.
a smooch. And she was like, but mom, I just don't think that I want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I got you. I got
Right.
you. I will communicate that for you. I am not going to ask you to communicate that. And it was accepted so well.
Oh, good. By the grandparent.
By the grandparent.
Okay.
But then it made me go, do I make my son uncomfortable because we smooch? And I just was like, hey, I was like, buddy, if there's ever a time that I give you a good night, like just so you know, like it is so cool with me if you want to move to like just hugs, or if you want me to like kiss you on the cheek, or so he kisses my forehead now.
Oh, nice.
And it's really sweet because he's so much I'm 5'3" and he's 5'10", and Sean's embrace is my favorite place to be. I fit so perfect. And now I'm fitting like that with my boy. And I'm just like, he's like, it's okay, mom. I've got you. And dad's not here. Do you need a hug? Like,
Right. That's awesome.
But so, yeah, I mean, we're obsessed with each other. It's wonderful.
Yeah. That's cool.
I can't imagine. I mean, that doesn't mean that we don't get on each other's nerves. We teach our kids this, like the person that you love, the people that you love the most are the people that it is easiest to be unkind to be hurtful towards, and and to receive hurt from. But it's because when you love somebody, forgiveness happens, in those situations, whether it's an unkind word or an unkind action. And so something that we've just really tried to teach them is like taking that ownership over your words, of course, but remembering, like, at the end of the day, that it's just your people. The people that matter the most to me are the ones inside my four walls. And that's what I tell them. My number one priority is and always will be here. Once I leaved and cleaved, right?
Right.
which another really, really hard concept for my family, I'll say.
Mm,
But, so
yeah.
it's, I feel like I've swirled for a second and forgot where I was
That's
going.
all right.
But
I want to go back to so since you have all these different kind of experiences as
mhm.
your Christian walk went down the way it's going. Have you ever had like moments of doubt, like maybe you picked the wrong belief system, or
Oh,
maybe none of this is
oh,
real, or
I don't think that you could be a real Christian and answer no to that question.
okay, I agree. I agree with you.
So,
I agree with you, although some people have answered no to that question.
yeah,
So yeah.
which I think is amazing. So we've been in like different in small groups for, with every church that we've been in
Mm.
and made some really, really profound, like the church that Sean and I started attending in 2009. We don't go to church with any of those people anymore, but we spent New Year's with them. There are
Oh,
people,
okay.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and so I look back at the challenges, right? Like the hardships in the moments, um, where, I mean, Sean and I lost our first house. Okay.
Oh
So
wow.
we moved out with a 5-day old baby.
Oh my gosh.
And it was heartbreaking. It was devastating. And in that moment, we're like crying out to God, like,
Right.
how could you do this to us?
Like lost it
Um,
financially or like it burned down or something?
no, we lost it
Oh,
financially.
okay.
So we had bought the house from friends.
Okay.
And there were issues with the house that weren't disclosed. The homeowner was a home inspector. And so we were like, oh, yeah, of course you can do the inspection.
Yeah.
That's great. If we don't have to pay for a home inspection as first time home buyers, we also paid like $109,000 for this 800 square foot house in 2008. Okay.
Oh wow.
Not a good time to buy a house.
Yeah, no.
Turns out there was a really, really, really
Yeah.
poor economy going on. And so, yeah, there was this beautiful, huge oak tree in the front yard, and it was wonderful. And I remember walking through the yard when we were like there to do our walkthrough and
Mm.
feeling like I stepped on this one spot that was like, oh, was like, was that a soft spot? Like, like when you step on a mole hole or something.
Right, right.
Um, didn't think anything of it. Again, I'm like in 2008, I was 21.
Mm.
Um, I didn't know what I was looking for. Neither did Sean. Neither of us have been homeowners. So
Right.
we buy this house, we live there, we love it. And um we had a crawl space, and there was something that Sean went down into the crawl space for. And when he went down there, there was a ton of water standing. So he got my
Ugh.
oldest brother on the line, and he came over and got down in there and they helped. And what they had found was that the washing machine drain had been reverted to dump straight into the sump crock.
Oh my gosh.
You're not supposed to do that.
Who the heck did that?
The previous homeowner.
Oh my
I
gosh.
told you there were issues not disclosed. Okay. So they get down there and they fix it. And like, I mean, these guys are down there in pea stone digging out our crawl space, and they reset because what had happened. Oh, it was our sump. That was why they went down there. Our sump pump kept running and running and running. And Sean's like, I don't know what's going on. So he goes down, finds the water. Him and my brother get the crock reset. They firmly plant it where it belongs. They reroute the washing machine. And all of a sudden, we're getting like blue laundry soap water up our bathtub. And we're like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
we, long story short, the big old oak tree in the front yard had cracked through the sewer tiles, and all of our plumbing
Mm.
from the toilet basically to the other side of the road was filled with tree roots.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so we had basically a full sewer collapse, or like plumbing collapse, in our front yard. And this because the actual sewer tile collapsed, and they wanted us to go through I mean, the expenses of fixing it would have required us to tear up City Road, and we would have been liable because of where our plumbing connected. And so it was just like we had no choice. Our mortgage lender wouldn't work with us. And I mean, it was, what, I'm having such a brain fart. What is the word? A recession. Because we were in the recession in 2008.
Right,
And
right,
it's like, you already were stupid to buy the house. They're definitely not going to give you the money to fix the big
right,
problem.
right. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so yeah, that was the house that my husband brought me home to as his wife. And
Wow. And you
it
stayed
had
with
some
them
good
anyway.
stories. I did. We did not buy this house from friends for what it's worth.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah.
awesome. So like during those times then you felt
Oh
like
yeah.
you
So
questioned
back to the
God
real
to where,
question.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there have been, I would say question, but at the end of the day, there's always been such a he has made such an impact. There's been such an imprint of his fingers all over our lives that I just really don't think that I could ever say I don't believe this.
mm,
I mean, just having the testimony of our marriage, having a testimony of making it out of the labor and delivery room when truly nobody in that room thought that I would.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that was a big deal for me. I had what they call a postpartum hemorrhage. I lost a lot of blood after she was
oof,
born. I and this is the thing, like I didn't need a blood transfusion, so it really wasn't that serious, but it was in the moment because of how like just how long it took them to get it to stop. And I nobody took pictures of me, but they were like, you looked like gray, like I had no color.
mm.
Um, funny thing about that, so this is my labor for Penny. I had during my labor and delivery a nurse named Penny.
Oh, crazy.
And one of my kids, so like during labor, it was just Sean and I with I had a one of my friends was there. Actually, my friend's mom was my labor and delivery photographer. It's the only one I decided to photograph, and it just so happened
Yeah.
to be the hard one. Um, so by when they realized what was going on, she left. But I had all these people telling me, like, Kristen, you looked like, a wiped off chalkboard.
Right.
And after everybody, they got it stopped. My family was able to come in because my family had been there. My husband's mom had come to Michigan. She lived in California. Had come to Michigan for a whole week to be with us for before she was born. And here we are, like, we have been at the hospital for way, 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 way too long now. And it's the
Yeah.
middle of the night. And now they're finally letting everybody come back and see Penny and I. And when my children left my labor and delivery room, they had me sit up. And when I sat up, there was a Penny laying in my bed. One of my kids had found it on the floor outside the door, and they brought it in and they put it
That's
in my
so
bed with
funny.
me. And
Now,
then of
had you
all
guys
the
picked the name Penny already at this point?
Well, it was because of the Mr. Peabody and Sherman thing. So we settled on it. We knew that it was a girl, and
Okay.
now we knew her name was going to be Penny Joy. And the
Okay.
funny thing about all of it, I know we're friends on Facebook, but um, I'm not going to expect you to know which of my kids is which.
Yeah.
But um, this is, let's see, I got to turn the brightness down.
Yeah.
This is our kids from Christmas, and my little Penny is a ginger.
Okay. Yeah, totally.
So she's my copper top penny. And we were
Yeah.
just like, okay,
That's so
God,
funny.
that was definitely the name for her.
Okay. That's awesome. That's such confirming
Oh, for
kind of
sure.
thing, you know?
My poor husband, none of our kids really look like him.
Yeah.
Weston is starting to, but they
Okay.
all have my blue eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weston is my lefty. I got that. My
Okay.
girls, I'm a lefty.
Yeah.
But
You know what's funny? Like Bethany and I, neither one of us are lefties and neither one of us are
mhm.
blue-eyed, but two of our four kids have blue eyes and two of them have are left-handed. I'm
That's
like,
cool.
where did this come from, you know? So
I'm
weird.
I'm one of four.
Mm,
Three of us are left-handed and
okay.
blue-eyed. My sister's
Interesting.
right-handed and has hazel eyes, but with the exception of the fact that you and my oldest brother have the same hairstyle now.
Yes, it's a good hairstyle. It's a good one.
When he still had hair,
Yeah, yeah,
they all had curly hair and I have straight hair.
yeah.
But my mom, blonde hair, blue eyes. So
Okay.
it's, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's
strong
cool.
genes, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I've been rocking this hairstyle since before it was cool. So I was 15 when I first started shaving my head. So
Were you really?
yeah. Yeah, it
That's
actually
cool.
started. The reason it happened is because it was a bet. Like my cousin made a bet with me over the summer. It was the summer before my junior year of high school, I believe. Or maybe it was before sophomore year. There was a bet. I don't remember what the bet was, but I lost. And his mom was a hairdresser. So the whole thing was if you lose, we're going to shave your head. And at the time, like I was all about my hair. I had the 90s
Yeah.
wave and like the surfer
Oh,
guy haircut. And I was like, there's no way. I was devastated, but I had to follow through on the bet, right? So she shaved it off. And I was like, that actually looks kind of good. And then I went back to school, right, for my sophomore year or junior year, whichever one it was. And they're like, oh my gosh, like that looks way better. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I just kept doing it. Yeah.
that's awesome.
I'm like, it's low
I
maintenance. I
love
just
it.
get up and I'm ready to rock. So it's very cool. So
So my brother was in his 30s when he started
mhm.
shaving his head, I would say, because I was 19 in cos school and
Yeah.
he was dating an older woman who he was very ready to shave his head, but she
Hmm.
did not want him to because he was like, you make me look young.
Oh yeah.
And so he comes to me and he's like, hey, Kristen, you cut my hair. And my brother is the ultimate razzer. Okay.
Yeah.
Ultimate.
Okay.
He is the oldest. He's the oldest, he's the smartest, he's the funniest, he's all of the things, right? In his own book. And
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
him. My brother and I got super tight when I was in high school. We ended up he moved in with my parents for a few years. And we got this time together that me as a teenager, he could tolerate.
Yeah.
Me as a
Yeah.
kid, not so much. And so that was, again, but I was also, like I said, I was kind of a rebellious kid, and he was the fun brother that had a boat and would take me places.
Oh,
So,
fun.
um, but he was like, I want to shave my head, and she says no, so I'm gonna let you cut it because you probably won't do a very good job, and then I'll have a reason to shave
Right.
it.
Right.
And I did a good job, and he didn't shave his. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
funny. That's awesome.
but haircuts are fun, man. You just talking about your 90s, like baseball season last year. So my
Uh-huh.
son has been to a barber shop a couple of times just for fun with dad. But like, cause I've sent Sean, I'm like, oh, you should go to the barber. Like, just go have fun.
Hmm.
Um, but other than that, like I'm the the resident hairstylist, right? So it's always, hair in the kitchen. But with brain fart again. Where was I going with this? It's like a squirrel literally lives
Yeah.
between my ears sometimes.
Yes.
Oh, baseball season.
Right.
My son has gone through different hairstyles. Like he has had it really short. And I love him to pieces, but he has a big noggin. Okay. He has a big noggin. He
Yeah.
has a really prominent occipital bone. And
Okay.
so like he loves fitted hats. He collects baseball hats.
Oh, nice.
That's his thing. He's a
All
very
teams doesn't matter,
all teams. I
even
mean,
if it's a
well, so
team he
like
doesn't like, or
I mean, right now he's working on teams he does like. He's obviously a Tigers fan. He loves the Dodgers. He really started following them with Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani
okay.
last year when the Tigers were not going to make it to the World Series. He needed to choose a team to watch, and he loves Freddie Freeman, and he's like, Mom, he loves Jesus, and he plays baseball really good, like. So it's just that's my kid.
Yeah.
But so we've had baseball season brings different haircuts. We've had funny colors, like I
Yeah.
occasionally let my kids do color in their hair.
Okay.
But my favorite haircut ever, he did this winter, he was like, I want it cut short again. Give me dad's haircut, which is like a 2 to 3, finger length on top, just a standard
Yeah.
male haircut. But this summer, he was rocking what we affectionately referred to as the Zack Morris.
Nice. Which he probably doesn't know who that is, right?
And
He doesn't even know.
he definitely knows who
Oh,
that is.
really?
Are you kidding
Okay.
me?
All right.
My kids like Ren and Stimpy and Animaniacs
That's awesome.
and We have
So
introduced
cool.
them to like DuckTales
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah,
Classic.
definitely.
Yeah.
We had an entire winter last year of Animaniacs. We would watch one episode a night together before we put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was so, and of course, music, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what kind of music. So everybody sings along to the theme song and we know the whole thing,
To DuckTales?
just, oh, Animaniacs.
Oh, Animaniacs. Okay. Yeah.
Animaniacs. Oh,
That one's good
DuckTales, we
too.
knew that one too. I mean, but
Yeah.
it was just like, we'll find a series on Prime.
Okay.
And like, I think that for Animaniacs, we paid like $8 for a season and it was like 40 episodes or something. So
Oh,
it
wow.
lasted forever.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than that. But
Yeah.
uh yeah, we like to pull out the good stuff
Right.
to watch with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
content,
Um,
family time.
all right. So we're starting to wind down on our time frame here.
Yeah.
So this is something I ask anytime I have a Christian on. Which by the
Mhm.
way, I don't always have. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of these,
Yeah.
but I don't always
Yeah.
have Christians
I've
on. I
picked up
have.
on that.
Okay, yeah, it's a pretty even mix. It seems
Yeah.
like I've had atheists, I've had people of other faiths and everything else, which is always fun. But whenever I have another Christian on, since we pretty much agree on a
Mhm.
lot of the same kind of core beliefs, um, so obviously as a Christian, you believe that like Jesus is the only way of salvation. You
Yes.
believe that Christianity is the true religion, for lack of a
Yes.
better term. So what makes you confident that this one's true and the other ones are not?
Oh gosh. I mean, my experiences.
Okay.
Honestly, I went on a mission trip in 2012 to Haiti where I saw someone possessed.
Oh wow.
And
To Haiti?
that was something uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. On that trip and they were like, hey, it's 2012, so it's
Mm-hmm.
recovery, still a lot of like cleanup and just helping rehabilitate communities. It was an amazing experience. I had watermelon juice for the first time and
Okay.
limeade that changed my life. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. Met
Okay.
some went on the trip with some really wonderful people and just experienced some profound moments. I mean, I have just had Holy Spirit moments where I know without a doubt that this is my God. This is the one true king. And
Yeah.
um
But
so
the counter to that would be if there was someone sitting, let's say I was Muslim or I was Hindu or
mm,
something, and I
yeah.
said the same thing to you, and you say, "Well, Ryan, why do you know that Muslim or Islam is the correct?" And I said, "Well, these
Mm,
experiences I've had show me that it's true." And I might come
yeah.
up with some story of the kind of a similar story, of like, "Oh, I saw this thing happen," and you know,
Yeah, and it's so hard because our kids have said, well, how do we know, mom?
hmm
Well, it's a personal conviction. It
sure,
truly has to be this personal conviction and what you believe and so I mean, I guess that's just where my intuition falls is
yeah,
because it's what I know and I'm open to learning and understanding other religions.
hmm
Um but I know that this is I don't know. I
yeah.
think that's the answer. I don't know, but I just know.
Right. Well, what's that Bible
um,
verse where he says, "I believe, please help my unbelief." Right?
yeah.
Stuff
Uh-huh.
like that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I had a thought and it floated right out of my brain.
Yeah. Don't you hate that?
Um, Man, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll come back later when you least expect it.
Definitely. I'll text you. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
my niece texts me and I'm confused because I don't recognize the title of either of these songs. She sent me two YouTube videos,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm going to have to just specifically ask her, where's the one that you did with your professor?
Oh, there you go.
Because
Okay.
I think it might have been called Abide.
Right.
And she sent me two videos that I was like,
But
that's
that's
not the one.
cool. That means she's doing more. That means she's might be
Yeah.
working on like a full album or something, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love
Um,
her. She's the one that made me an aunt. And I don't have favorites. I really
right.
don't.
Right.
But
But she's your
um,
favorite.
but But she was the first. She was the first favorite. That's what I tell her.
Yeah. My cousin got back
I tell
to
my
me.
kids, I'm like, you're my favorite kid named Weston. You're my favorite kid
Yes.
named Geneva.
Yes,
And you're my favorite
exactly.
kid named Penny.
There you go. So my cousin that lives in Michigan, she says she's from Caro.
Oh, Caro.
Caro.
See, yeah.
Yeah, and then her parents live in Marlette.
Oh.
So,
Marlette.
And I asked her, I was telling her, I said, yeah, I'm doing a podcast with somebody who's from Parma.
Oh.
And she's like, I've never even heard of that.
She lives near my bestie. My bestie's
Oh, really?
in Bay City.
Okay.
Yeah. She's up near, so if this is Michigan,
yeah,
I'm like here and
okay.
she's like here.
Okay.
We're about
so not too far.
Like less than 2.5 hours.
Okay. Interesting.
You can just tell her I'm by Jackson.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
she said she had to Google it to see where that was.
Well, when we bought our house, we had put an offer in on a different house in Eaton Rapids, which is the city that my husband went to school in, all of middle school and high school.
Yeah.
We're only 15 minutes from there. We had put an offer in on a house. It was wonderful. We wanted it. It was the same price as this house, but it was smaller.
Yeah.
And so we had gone through our inspection and everything, got the appraisal done. The appraisal came back $30,000 low. And we were like, we don't have, first of all,
right.
We're not going to pay you $30,000 more than it's worth. So we were able to get our deposit back and pull out, found this house on Mother's Day on Zillow, and was for sale by owner. And I was like, Sean, where's Parma? I know I've heard of Parma, Ohio.
Yeah.
But I had never heard of Parma, Michigan. And
yeah. But it was destiny.
But yeah, you're right. Definitely destiny.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's destiny because that's how he got his Parmesan moniker.
I know. And he still gives you credit for that. He's like, that's all Ryan. I'm Parmesan.
I want to be thanked in the liner notes of his first hip hop album when it comes out.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's funny because one of my best girlfriends, she has nicknamed him Master P, and we can never remember what all of the P's are, but there's like Parmesan.
Yep.
Is one of them. This particular girlfriend grew up Catholic and got married a few years ago, and her husband to be was not going to convert. And they asked Sean if he would marry them.
Oh, wow.
And so Sean went to our pastor at the time and he was like, hey, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
And, because getting ordained is, for some people, they're like, oh, anybody can get ordained, right?
Right.
And it's true. But our pastor was basically like, dude, I know you. I know how much you love the Lord. Are you going to try to become a preacher? Or is it just the fact that you're the closest thing to Jesus that this guy knows and he's asked you to do that? And so it was just like, okay. So he's the only wedding he's ever performed.
Wow.
But he's Master P because he's a pastor.
Awesome.
It's just, but Parmesan,
yeah, that's awesome.
Is definitely still affectionately
a
nickname in this house.
That's awesome. So cool. All right, well, that's it. We're at the end.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited.
So thanks. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks. I did. I think my kids are still alive.
I hope so. Right.
I cannot believe that I did not get the hiccups the entire time that we.
What's funny? I started with them when we very first started, but they never came out. Well, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks
Good
for
times.
asking me.
Yes. Tell Sean I said hi, and we'll talk to you later.
I will.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks so much for checking out this episode. Please tell all your friends. And if you need to contact me, the email is whycan'twetalkaboutthat@proton.me. Until next week.